Chapter 921, Madness. Chapter 921, Madness. Yi Mo was prepared for a heavy battle as soon as he got on the platform. When he saw a golden core state level 5 cultivator challenge him, he took a cultivation increasing pill and the Lin blue fruit without hesitation. Guang Wei noticed that Yi Mo wasn't getting off and that he had instead taken some pills. The challenger was at golden core state level 5 and stronger than the level 4 cultivator they had killed together. She yelled desperately to her big martial sister, "Big martial sister, help him." He dashed. The big martial sister glanced at the two golden core state peak stage cultivators from the south side and shook her head. She couldn't. If she did, she would be breaking the rules. She would be attacked by everyone. Guang Wei was desperate. She wanted to go up and help. The big martial sister quickly yelled, "Guang Wei, stop. Do you think you can help him?" Guang Wei heard this and calmed down. She knew that she wasn't able to do much. She sighed. She hoped Yi Mo would give up when he couldn't beat the challenger, but she realized that the cultivator had a face full of killing intent. The Lin blue fruit. A few cultivators had recognized the fruit Yi Mo had taken and exclaimed. Their eyes were filled with greed. The Lin blue fruit was very rare. It wasn't a level 7 spirit herb, but it wasn't less valuable than one. Yet, this foundation establishment state cultivator had the Lin blue fruit. The golden core state level 5 master sneered, P*NK. Remember my name, South Peace State, Flowing Cloud Sword Sect, Jin Suorjan. On account of your Lin blue fruit, I'll leave your body in one piece. Everyone regretted not having gone up earlier. If they had, the Lin blue fruit would have been theirs. After killing Yi Mo, Jin Suorjan waved his hand and a grey metal hoop charged at Yi Mo. The hoop was only the size of 2 palms in Jin Suorjan's hands, but when it stopped above Yi Mo's head, it turned into a 1-meter-sized hoop. Tens of dark rays were shot out of the hoop with an eerie killing Kai. Qin Muxin saw this and her expression changed. She hadn't expected Jin Suorjan to use such a cruel move immediately. She had lost to that dark hoop. If she hadn't had a spirit artifact armor, she might have even died to that. The dark rays were very powerful, they could even dissolve spirit sense. Yi Mo immediately felt pain on his spirit sense when the hoop came out. He was shook. He hadn't expected to encounter a magic artifact that could corrode spirit sense. Meanwhile, the cultivation increasing pill and the Lin blue fruit's potency spread. Yi Mo felt like his body was on fire. He was betting on the 3-birth chant. When he used the 3-birth chant, countless spirit Kai formed a spirit Kai whirlpool around him. Meanwhile, Yi Mo used his first strike, the illusion cloud essence binding strike. He had to defend himself against the attacks. However, these attacks could activate his potential. The sword ray's target wasn't Jin Suorjan, but the dark rays from the hoop. The sword rays mixed with the dark rays, which made a sizzling sound. At the same time, Yi Mo waved his hand. Countless top-grade spirit stones flew up, forming a simple spirit gathering formation. Immediately, more spirit Kai appeared and it formed an even bigger spirit Kai whirlpool around him. His foundation would have been more stable if he did this 2 years later, but he didn't have the time. Hence, he could only think of taking advantage of that life and death situation to activate his potential. When everyone saw Yi Mo block the hoop attack, they were already quite shocked. However, they were astonished upon seeing Yi Mo's huge spirit Kai whirlpool. When people saw Yi Mo throw countless top-grade spirit stones into a simple formation, they all realized that Yi Mo was trying to form his core. Mad. No one could believe Yi Mo was sober at that moment. A foundation establishment state cultivator was blocking the full-powered attack of a golden core state cultivator, yet he dared to form his core at this moment. He was asking to die. And even if he didn't die, his cultivation would go wrong. The big martial sister looked dazedly at this scene and said to Qin Muxin, "I was wrong. He's not an idiot, he's a madman." Guang Wei also looked at Yi Mo in daze, not daring to believe he was this crazy. This wasn't even crazy anymore, it was something else. Jin Suorjan's face was green. It was like slapping him in the face. His lethal move hadn't worked against a foundation establishment state cultivator, yet this insect dared to form his core while fighting him. The irate Jin Suorjan threw a dark red ball at Yi Mo and took out a long sword. Everyone shook their heads at this. Jin Suozhan was a golden core state level 5 fighting a foundation establishment state cultivator. This was embarrassing enough, and yet he used red lightning. Red lightning was an one-time use spirit level magic artifact made by lightning element cultivators. It could explode and shoot powerful lightning. Usually, even golden core state tertiary stage cultivator wouldn't be able to escape from this, much less a foundation establishment state cultivator. The three-birth chant devoured the spirit Kai like crazy, and he could feel the pressure of the dark rays. With that, it triggered his body to exert more potential. He was about to break through at any moment. Yi Mo saw the red lightning. If Yi Mo hadn't known he could devour the lightning source, he would have gotten as far away as possible. But now, he stopped his counterattack. Rumble, rumble! Yi Mo was completely surrounded by the red lightning. Countless lightning sparks and explosions sounded where Yi Mo stood, pushing the spirit Kai whirlpool all over the place. However, Yi Mo closed his eyes and used the illusion cloud exert will strike. His power reached the border of golden core state. Zishu shot out countless sword rays and tens of them directed under Yi Mo's will, blocking the dark ray, while others went out and stopped the pieces of exploding red lightning. The most powerful lightning ray hadn't been blocked at all, and it all landed on Yi Mo. Even the parts that missed were drawn to Yi Mo. Yi Mo had forgotten he was in a battle now. He had gotten immersed in devouring the lightning. As he continued to devour the lighting, his power kept increasing and the spirit Kai whirlpool above his head grew bigger and bigger. Everyone saw Yi Mo getting hit and they all assumed he was over. Even a golden core state peak stage would be half dead after getting hit like that. Guang Wei closed her eyes in pain. She knew Yi Mo was over. Qin Muxin sighed. She approved of Yi Mo quite highly. Becoming the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame's #1 wasn't so easy, and even her master had thought Yi Mo was a genius. She hadn't even rejected too firmly the idea marrying him. She had only been angry when Yi Mo rejected her. But now that Yi Mo was covered in lightning, she felt a little sad. Chapter 922, Long Howl. Chapter 922, Long Howl. However, everyone felt something was wrong. Amidst the explosion, the spirit Kai whirlpool was getting bigger and bigger. Jin Suozhan saw occasionally rainbows and spirit Kai clouds flash. He immediately realized that the foundation establishment state insect wasn't dead, and he was about to form his core instead. A golden core that could attract rainbow spirit clouds was no ordinary golden core. Thinking about this, Jin Suozhan's expression changed drastically. He activated his hoop with full power and charged at Yi Mo with his long sword. Yi Mo closed his eyes. He could tell that Jin Suozhan had come in. He sneered and shook his Zishu. Countless whirlpool sword rays pierced Jin Suozhan. If he hadn't been about to break through, his cultivation essence now could have killed Jin Suozhan in one move. A rainbow spirit cloud. All the golden core state cultivators called out in shock. They were dumbfounded. When a cultivator was about to form his golden core, a spirit cloud would take form, allowing the cultivator's power to have a qualitative ascension. However, they had only heard about the legendary rainbow spirit cloud that formed only once the golden core reached a certain quality. None of them had seen one before. Yet, they saw one that day, one that was huge. They stared in a daze at the rainbow cloud that a madman had formed while fighting against another golden core state cultivator. Everyone fell silent, each lost in their own thoughts. The few other golden core state peak stage cultivators saw this and wanted to kill Yi Mo now. Some of the northern cultivators considered attacking, but they eventually didn't. They couldn't know whether the rest would join them. Big Martial Sister, what is a rainbow spirit cloud? Chichi asked in shock. The Big Martial Sister didn't take her eyes off the clouds and said, if a cultivator wants to reach higher states, they need to build a good foundation. The golden core is the foundation for a cultivator to reach higher states. Golden cores are divided into 9 types or 9 levels. Only those who are level 3 or higher can have hope of reaching higher states. Your martial sister Muxin has a level 2 golden core, but I'm only level 3. Then, those below level 3 won't have any chances of ascending into the immortal realm? Chichi asked. The Big Martial Sister shook her head. No, even someone with a level 9 golden core has a sliver of hope. The heavenly Tao gives a chance to all beings. But this sliver of hope is next to nothing. Chichi nodded. Then, Big Martial Sister, did Yimo form a level 1 golden core? The Big Martial Sister shook her head again. No, level 1 to 9 golden cores don't have rainbow spirit clouds. There are 3 types of golden cores that can have rainbow spirit clouds. These 3 types are above the 9 levels of the cultivation realm. I only know there's 3 types, but not what they are exactly. Clearly, Yimo is about to form one of them. While Jin Suozhen was still fighting with Yimo's Zishu, Yimo suddenly felt his meridians shake. Countless cultivation essence gathered and spirit Kai rushed into his body like crazy. He felt he was lacking in spirit Kai, however. Just when Yimo was about to take out the spirit marrow, a large patch of rainbow spirit cloud landed above his head and a sense of extreme comfort rose from his heart. His power skyrocketed and the spirit Kai whirlpool grew even bigger. In the blink of an eye, Yimo felt his power had reached a maximum limit. The next moment, using his 3-birth chant, the rainbow cloud and his cultivation essence formed a lychee-sized golden core. Yimo rejoiced. He could tell that he had successfully formed his golden core, so he devoured spirit Kai like crazy. Jin Suozhen had just broken free from Yimo's whirlpool sword rays, but he felt Yimo's immense power. He was shook. He realized that Yimo had reached golden core state. This golden core state level 1 cultivator emitted a power that even he felt scared of. Jin Suozhen didn't have any battle will anymore. Realizing this, Jin Suozhen decided to run away. If he didn't run now, perhaps he wouldn't be able to. Yimo felt the power and abundance of cultivation essence in golden core state level 1. He had felt a little scared that he had dared to fight against a golden core state cultivator with foundation establishment state power. The golden core state power was far from what a foundation establishment state cultivator could compare with. The instant Jin Suozhen tried to run away, Yimo felt it. He sneered, "Do you want to run away? Too late. Once you're here, you can't change your mind." Then, Yimo spun Zishu. This was the first time he used the illusion cloud essence binding strike as a golden core state cultivator. Jin Suozhen felt something locking him on the spot. He was shook and spat essence blood, wanting to break free. He couldn't understand how this cultivator was so strong after just having reached golden core state. But before he could completely break free, the second strike arrived. Countless purple sword rays pierced his body without resistance, creating a blood mist. Yimo's sword ray spun and Jin Suozhen's fat head flew away, splashing blood all over the ground. Yimo felt satisfaction. His illusion cloud essence binding strike had never been so smooth against a golden core state master. It was the first time he killed a golden core state cultivator without the help of Shadowless. Yimo took his storage ring and the dark hoop. He howled, clenching his Zishu. He felt like he had been living a succumbing life. He had had to suck up to people, to run away at the spirit marrow pond while watching the spirit crystals he wanted get taken away. He had been laughed by all of these people for wanting to take a formation. Now, he had easily killed a golden core state level 5 cultivator. He could finally scream at the top of his lungs and let out all of his dissatisfaction. All of the cultivators looked dazedly at the headless Jin Suozhen and Yimo, who howled with a purple kitchen knife. Yimo was like a god. After a long while, no cultivator dared to challenge Yimo. There were 2 golden core state level 7 cultivators, but if Yimo could stop a golden core state level 5 when he had been at foundation establishment state and he had killed Jin Suozhen immediately after reaching golden core state, his limits were unimaginable. He even had a rainbow spirit cloud to help him form his core. Even a golden core state level 7 cultivator wouldn't be so confident against such a person. He actually succeeded. The Big Martial Sister looked at Yimo in shock. She had thought of someone like him to be an idiot, a madman. Qin Muxin also looked at Yimo in disbelief. She suddenly understood what her master had been trying to do. Yimo wasn't just a genius, he was beyond that. He got chosen as the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame's #1 and he created a pill recipe on the spot called the Spirit Weaving Pill. The pill included the Spirit Attraction Grass. It can be used to recover spirit sense, Qin Muxin said slowly to her Big Martial Sister. What? Her big martial sister was shook upon hearing this. She gulped and sighed after a long while. I saw wrong. He's really cool. Chichi watched Yimo howl and said admiringly. The southern cultivators looked at him in a daze. No one dared to challenge him. Even the northern side cultivators looked at Yimo in disbelief. No one would believe such a story if they spread this out. Haishin looked at Yimo and murmured to himself, "So, I'm the idiot." Chapter 923, Taking the Formation with Dominance. Chapter 923, Taking the Formation with Dominance. Silence remained for some time, but someone still came out. It was a golden core state level 7 cultivator from the south. Yimo had just killed Jin Suorjan, but that cultivator felt that a golden core state level 5 cultivator and a level 7 one were completely different stories. One was at tertiary stage and the other had been at middle stage. There was a huge gap in between, so he believed he could beat Yimo. Seeing another golden core state tertiary stage cultivator challenge Yimo, everyone set their eyes on the two men. They all wanted to know who was stronger, Yimo, who had just reached golden core state, or this golden core state tertiary stage master. Yimo held Zishu. He watched the golden core state tertiary stage cultivator calmly. He wasn't certain he could win, but if used shadowless, he was sure he could kill that man. The cultivator walked up to the formation and saluted Yimo with his fists. "I'm the South Peace State's 5-star sect Truth Black Sect's Han Chenya. I'm not here to fight you, I'm here to negotiate. If you give me one of your Lin Blue fruits and let me get on the formation, I won't attack you and will help you guard this formation instead. Of course, I will compensate you with some spirit stones." Everyone heard this and cursed Han Chenya for being so cunning. Han Chenya had decided that if Yimo didn't give him the Lin Blue fruit, he would show his power and force Yimo to take them out. He believed Yimo wasn't an idiot and he would take his proposal into consideration. P*SS off. Yimo said. The spirit stones were just to make Yimo not lose too much face. In the end, he just wanted the Lin Blue fruit for free. Han Chenya heard this and his face got red in anger. He wanted Yimo to feel pressured and give in, but it had ended up like this. He had lost face in front of so many cultivators. Without a word, Han Chenya waved his two hands and countless red lights flashed from his hand. The light dots looked like bugs and they were abominable. These dots gathered together and formed a pan-sized blade. The blade had countless legs, like a centipede, and he charged at Yimo with sharp killing intent. Yimo frowned. It looked very disgusting and it had a putrid stench. Seeing this, Yimo swung his Zishu and used a whirlpool blade immediately. Countless bloodlights flashed and the spinning sword Ray Zishu had activated turned the blood blade into pulp. After a huge explosion, Han Chenya's blood blade had still managed to tear a gash on Yimo's clothes, but he hadn't stayed unaffected either. The whirlpool sword Ray had not only destroyed his blood blade, but it also left a few gashes on his body. Han Chenya's face was pale and he took a few steps back. He hadn't thought that newly ascended golden core state cultivator would be on par with him in terms of cultivation essence. Yimo sneered and waved his hand. Zishu flew back in his hands. His power had also risen drastically. He needed to show that Han Dude how good he was, otherwise, more people would come up and challenge him. Han Chenya saw Yimo's Kai rise and his expression changed drastically. Eventually, he decided not to move forward. He could tell that this golden core state level 1 cultivator had stronger moves. Although he had his own lethal move, it wasn't the place to fight with his life. He chose to retreat. Yimo was dazed. He hadn't expected Han Chenya to retreat. No one else had expected this either. However, no one thought that Han Chenya was just being too cautious. They had realized that this golden core state primary stage young cultivator was no simple character. The scene fell silent again. Even the golden core state peak stage cultivator felt a little concerned about Yimo. This cultivator was only at golden core state level 1. Once he reached tertiary stage or even middle stage, who would be a match for him? Yimo looked around. He was sure that no one was going to challenge him. He then said to Guangwei, "Martial sister Guangwei, thanks for your goodwill before. Come here." Guangwei woke up from her daze. She breathed at ease and approached him. She had understood that Yi Mo was no longer that solo cultivator pill master. Even in a place filled with masters like this, no one dared to do anything to him. Thank you, Yi Mo. You did not only save my life, but you also brought me into the secret land, Guang Wei thanked him. She knew that Yi Mo was thanking her for bringing him and worrying for him before, not because he liked her. The immortal Herb Valley's big martial sister saw Yi Mo let Guang Wei join him and thanked him. Thank you, Martial Brother Yi, for bringing Guang Wei with you. The immortal Herb Valley's Liu Yutang is very grateful. Yi Mo glanced at her and said calmly, this has nothing to do with you nor with the immortal Herb Valley. You don't need to thank me. Liu Yutang felt awkward. She wanted to get closer to him, but she hadn't expected this. Yi Mo had been there for a while and could tell what sort of person that big martial sister was. She was at Golden Core State peak stage, but she was very realistic. She didn't value friendship at all. To her, she would face someone happily if there was something to benefit her. Otherwise, she wouldn't even bother looking at you. The other Golden Core State Level 6 cultivator saw there was one more spot on Yi Mo's formation and approached him quickly. Seeing this, people got excited again. Was this person also going to charge at Yi Mo? Yi Mo had been done with Han Qianyi in one move. People hadn't even gotten to savor the fun. Guang Wei began to worry, but Yi Mo's face was calm. He didn't move at all. His sixth sense was strong. This cultivator didn't have any killing intent nor had he gathered his power. This cultivator walked up to Yi Mo and gave him a spirit crystal. I'm the Blue Sea Sect's Qiu Xuanyu. I'm also from the north, like you. I got this spirit crystal not long ago, and I just want a chance to go into the secret lands. A spirit crystal? Yi Mo scanned it and said calmly, one isn't enough. Yi Mo was sure that it was the first time he saw that cultivator. He hadn't seen him at the spirit marrow pond. Without thought, Yi Mo could tell that this guy had robbed someone else, but he was trying to act like Mr. Nice Guy there. Everyone felt Yi Mo was being too shameless. Spirit crystals weren't as precious as extreme-grade spirit stones, but they were hard to find. Qiu Xuanyu bit his teeth and took out another one. I only have 2. If 2 isn't enough, then never mind. Yi Mo knew that there had been a lot in the pond, but there had been too many people there to share it with. The Golden Core State Level 9 cultivators took the most, so Qiu Xuanyu wouldn't have had a lot even if he had robbed someone. Yi Mo nodded and accepted them. In that case, come up. Chapter 924, Yi Mo takes no share. Chapter 924, Yi Mo takes no share. The formations were all occupied now. That southern Golden Core State tertiary stage cultivator saw that there were still about 20 people who hadn't gotten on, but he was sure that no one else would dare to challenge Yi Mo. He could only say, since there's enough people now, let's all activate the teleportation formation with our cultivation essence. The 7 formations were activated at the same time. Each formation flashed with a wave of white light and formed the spoon-shaped constellation. Rumble the formation was activated, and when the white light disappeared, all the people in the formation had disappeared along with it. People outside looked at the formation in admiration. They knew they didn't have any more chance, and so they left. Only a few stayed. Han Qianyi looked bleakly at the formation and had a sliver of coldness in his eyes. He then left on his flying spirit artifact. No one from his sect had gotten in, so he wasn't going to let all those people get the good things inside for free. He would give them a huge surprise after they came out. However, if Han Qianyi knew that the exit from the secret land wasn't there, perhaps he wouldn't do this. Yi Mo guessed that this secret land would be a huge plain or spirit herb garden. But when he arrived, he realized that it was a valley. The valley was filled with mist, and nothing could be seen. Their spirit sense couldn't scan anything either. There was only a small room in the valley. There seemed to be 7 restriction formations on the small wooden room. What was inside couldn't be seen. Yi Mo didn't find any spirit herbs nearby. He immediately guessed that all the good things would be inside the restriction. This place might consist of 7 spirit herb gardens. Those few Golden Core State tertiary stage and peak stage cultivators rushed towards that small wooden room as there was nothing else around. A Golden Core State Level 5 saw this and said in disappointment, "There's nothing here." It seems this place isn't some secret land. Another cultivator said, perhaps the good things are inside the restrictions, let's try to break through. Everyone, don't move. The Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator who had gone inside came back out. Clearly, they didn't find anything in the small wooden room. Almost everyone looked at the 7 restrictions outside the room. They all guessed that there must be good things inside there. Emo frowned. He was thinking that since there was no portal, how would they get out? There's no teleportation formation out of here. Emo wasn't the only one who noticed this. Zhiqiushui also realized it. Immediately, everyone started thinking about the problem. How were they going to get out? Suddenly, a southern Golden Core State Level 3 cultivator pointed at the misty area outside the valley. Perhaps this place is just a place inside the desert plain herb valley. If we pass that mist, then we might be able to get out. I'll go test it out. Careful, the mist might be poisonous, someone reminded. The Golden Core State cultivator laughed. I know, of course. He put up a cultivation essence barrier and checked his spirit artifact armor before approaching the mist carefully. He thought he should be safe like that. If he still felt any danger, he would retreat immediately. As the cultivator neared the mist, nothing seemed to happen, and everyone rested easy. It seemed this was just ordinary mist. They might be able to get out if they passed through it. But the next moment, everyone looked at where the man stood in disbelief, because he had suddenly vanished. A few breaths later, there was a terrified howl, and the mist returned to its serenity. Just a few breaths' time and a Golden Core State cultivator was gone. Everyone's face went bleak. This place didn't seem to be some secret land, more like a death valley. Perhaps we can fly out. Another Golden Core State tertiary stage broke the solemn silence and said. Emo sneered in contempt and didn't say anything. He knew there were flight restrictions there the moment he came in. Try flying then, another cultivator sneered. Clearly he knew it too. Let's break these 7 restrictions first. After all, there's this large area not covered by the mist. Even if we can't go out, after the 3 months are up, we will be teleported out anyway, Liu Yutang said. What if we don't get teleported out after the 3 months? Someone else immediately asked. A Golden Core State Level 8 from the Godsword sect rebuked, since this is still inside the desert plain herb valley, then we should just normally be teleported out after 3 months. The southern Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator slowly shook his head. However, the cultivators inside the desert plain herb valley will be transported out, but not anyone who is here. Why? Some people asked immediately. The Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator replied coldly, because that's what the map I got said. We must get out before the herb valley closes, or else. The man didn't finish his words, but everyone knew what he meant. The immortal herb valley had the most people with them, 4 people. The Godsword sect had 2. One was Yuan Ting at the Golden Core State Level 8, and the other was Shimonji at the Golden Core State Level 5. Zhiqiushui was brought in by Yuan Ting. There had been another formation taken by the northern side, but Yimo didn't know any of the 3 on that one. One of the people that were on it was at the Golden Core State Peak Stage like Liu Yutang. Seeing Yimo look at that person, Guang Wei whispered to Yimo, his Ji Yuan, from the Ghost Immortal sect. With him are Geba and Wenren Tian, who are also from his sect. Guang Wei's voice was quiet, but Ji Yuan seemed to have heard her as he glanced at her. Guang Wei quickly looked down and said to Yimo, I'll be going to my martial sister. Yimo nodded and didn't mind. Yimo felt that this man was the one who gave him the greatest feeling of threat. No matter what, let's break the restrictions here first. Ji Yuan suddenly changed the topic. Everyone reacted. They had come there to find spirit herbs, and perhaps there would be some in the restrictions. The other Golden Core State Peak Stage from the south nodded in agreement. I agree with Brother G's proposal. No matter what, we have to break these restrictions first. But there's 20 people here, how will we split the restrictions? The first southern Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator walked up to one of the formations, saying, us 2 will take one. They had 3 people before, but now it was just the 2 of them. Then, he waved to the person he brought with him. The immortal Herb Valley senior martial sister brought the other 3 people from her sect and also occupied one. Ji Yuanji and Yuan Ting took one as well. Because of Yi Mo's limited power, he didn't try to take a restriction, and it was taken by a South Peace State Golden Core State Level 8 cultivator. The South only had 8 people yet took 4 restrictions. The only ones without a restriction were Yi Mo and the Qiu Xuanyu who had come in with him. Chapter 925, The Crazy Herb Garden. Chapter 925, The Crazy Herb Garden. The reason the 2 Golden Core State Level 8 cultivators from the south hadn't taken a formation each was because it was safer for them to do so. They were from the same sect. However, now it was different. If the 7 restrictions were herb gardens, then they had to take one each. Who wouldn't want more herbs? Qiu Xuanyu saw this and was dumbfounded. He had finally gotten inside the secret land, but he couldn't even get something. He might even be stuck there forever. He immediately looked at Yi Mo when a Golden Core State Level 8 master took a restriction all for himself. But he realized that Yi Mo didn't seem to plan on doing anything. Without thought, he went up to the Golden Core State Level 8 cultivator and took out a spirit crystal. "Friend, you're by yourself. Take this spirit crystal. I only want 30% of the herbs." He had already given 2 to Yi Mo, which was a waste. If he didn't get anything out of this, it would be an even bigger waste for him. The Golden Core State Level 8 cultivator had taken a restriction all for himself, but he was still a little worried. He didn't fear Yi Mo, but if Qiu Xuanyu was helping on the side, then things wouldn't be as hard. What he hadn't expected was that this Golden Core State Level 7 cultivator would only ask for 30% of the herbs and give him a spirit crystal. He could be at ease now. Without much thought, this Golden Core State Level 8 cultivator agreed to Qiu Xuanyu's request. Even those at Golden Core State Peak Stage had to admire the Golden Core State Level 8 cultivator's luck. He could take 70% of the spirit herb garden for himself. Yi Mo was just a mere Golden Core State Level 1. No matter how strong he was, he wouldn't be able to take a spirit herb garden from Golden Core State Level 7 and Level 8 cultivators. All of the 7 restrictions were taken by the cultivators, but Yi Mo didn't get anything in the end. Guang Wei was just about to call Yi Mo, yet she saw her big martial sister's serious glare. She immediately understood that if she called Yi Mo over, it would mean that she was giving the immortal Herb Valley's herbs to Yi Mo. Yi Mo seemed to have just woken up and was staring at the 7 taken restrictions. He was dazed and smiled, looking at Qiu Xuanyu. Seeing this, Qiu Xuanyu and the Golden Core State Level 8 cultivator immediately became alert. Theoretically, Yi Mo shouldn't go look for trouble with them. Everyone looked at Yi Mo, thinking that he would start a fight with that Golden Core State Level 8 master. However, no one believed Yi Mo could win. Yi Mo might not even be able to beat the Golden Core State Level 8 cultivator, much less with Qiu Xuanyu helping. However, Yi Mo just smiled at that Golden Core State Level 8 cultivator and didn't even approach them. Instead, he walked into the small wooden room. The Golden Core State Level 8 cultivator breathed at ease when he saw that Yi Mo wasn't planning on bothering him. However, he was contemptuous of Yi Mo in his heart. There was nothing inside. The Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivators had confirmed it already, so no one cared when Yi Mo went inside. Chichi saw Yi Mo go in and asked strangely, "Big martial sister, didn't you just say that he would take that restriction for sure? How come he went into the wooden room?" Liu Yutang blushed. She felt very curious too. According to Yi Mo's personality, he wouldn't have let things go like that. However, he had just smiled at that guy, he didn't attack. Since when was he like this? Qin Muxin sighed. She knew that it wasn't that Yi Mo didn't want to fight for one, but that no matter which one he chose, he was on the losing end. She quickly said, "Everyone else is attacking their restrictions. We should start too." Everyone started attacking their restrictions. The Golden Core State Tertiary Stage cultivators found that Yi Mo didn't seem to be doing anything after going into the small wooden room, so they stopped caring. The moment the 19 people attacked the 7 restrictions, the valley rumbled instantly. Meanwhile, Yi Mo was making some formation flags and some jade cards. After half a day of attacking them, the restrictions still hadn't really loosened up. If the 19 people had attacked the same restriction, they might have broken it long ago. Many cultivators started to rest after half a day, but no one went inside the small wooden room, as though agreeing that it was Yimo's. If one of them went inside the wooden room, it gave Yimo a reason to fight over their herb gardens. They weren't afraid of Yimo, but Yimo was a madman. So even if they were to mess with Yimo, it would be after they got their spirit herbs. 3 days later, many people found that Yimo was making formations in the small wooden room and he seemed to be preparing them for cultivation. People were speechless. This cultivator was mad indeed. Had he used all of these means to come in there just so that he could cultivate? They were right. Yimo really started cultivating in the wooden room. He knew that with his current power, no matter which restriction he chose, he wouldn't get anything. Spirit Kai was very abundant in the valley. Yimo took out the spirit marrow and made a cauldron of Ninbai pills. He was progressing very quickly. His golden core state had stabilized and it had started to rise to level 2. Yimo was aware that even with all of this, he wouldn't be able to reach level 2 in a short time. Yet he knew that the more refined his cultivation essence was, the better it would be for him in this valley. On the 5th day, a huge explosion sounded. Some kind of spirit Kai that was incredibly dense spread out. Even Yimo couldn't help getting up. He could guess that one restriction had been broken. He sent his spirit sense out and saw that one of the restriction was broken indeed. It was the golden core state peak stage cultivator from the south's restriction. Everyone stopped to look at it. The things inside immediately made everyone's eyes get full of tears. There were spirit herbs inside indeed. The lowest leveled ones were level 5 spirit herbs like the yellow 3-leaf, the mistlan or the life force fruit. The 3 level 5 spirit herb and level the 5 colors lotus were enough to make everyone go crazy. The mistlan was the main ingredient for the mist spirit pill. It was the best pill for golden core state cultivators to break through. However, it was very rare and precious. The life force fruit was a level 6 spirit herb and an ingredient for making the life force pill. It was said to be the best cultivation essence recovery pill for those under hollow spirit state. It could not only recover cultivation essence, but also heal you. The 5 colors lotus was a level 5 spirit herb, but it was enough to make people crazy for it because it was a spirit herb that could ascend in level. Once the lotus reached 6 colors, it would become a level 6 spirit herb. The legendary 9 colors lotus was its highest state in the cultivation realm because once it reached 10 colors, it would become the 10 colors immortal lotus. The 9 colors lotus was precious because it could be used to make the 9 pill that could purify spirit roots. It was a legendary pill in the cultivation realm. However, they all knew that it was very hard to keep a 5 colors lotus alive. Even if they could, it would take a few hundred years for it to reach 6 colors, so 9 colors would take too much. Chapter 926. Leave behind the toll price. Chapter 926. Leave behind the toll price. The golden core state peak stage cultivator saw everyone's greedy eyes, so he said coldly, "There are 7 herb gardens here and I've only broken into one of them. I think you should all focus on your own gardens." With this reminder, everyone woke up and attacked their own restrictions like crazy. If there were that many herbs in the first garden, it meant that their own wouldn't have any less. Even Yimo wanted them, but he couldn't get them now. No one kept watch of Yimo. Chin Mushin had been watching Yimo the whole time, however. She saw Yimo's fiery eyes and she could tell that Yimo desired those spirit herbs too, so she began to worry. If he fought with those golden core state peak stage cultivators, Yimo wouldn't be strong enough to beat them. However, she found that Yimo didn't go out of the small wooden house. Instead, he took out formation flags and set them around the wooden house. It was as though he didn't plan on letting people go into his wooden house. Rumble restrictions were broken one by one and large amongst of high-level spirit herbs were shown. Yimo sat at the door of the small wooden house and scanned with his spirit sense. Red light fruit, purple back carrot, core building grass, blue wen grass, crisp vine, tiger bloodflower. There were even some level 7 herbs. Everything was what he wanted. The people soon divided the herbs after breaking the formation. But what disappointed Yimo was that after all of the 7 restrictions were broken, The highest level spirit herbs inside were level 7 and the most precious one was the 5 colors lotus. He hadn't even gotten to see the level 8 spirit herb returned soul fruit he wanted to see. Clearly, there was none there. Sorry, Yimo, I have 2 level 6 purple back blue carrot. You can have it. Guang Wei walked up to the wooden house. She felt bad for Yimo, who hadn't gotten anything. Yimo had done all he could to come in. The 2 herbs she had given him were materials for concocting the blue carrot pill. It was used for breaking through bottlenecks for nascent soul state cultivators. It was very precious. Did you make defense formations here? Guang Wei immediately realized that she couldn't go into the small wooden house. Yimo smiled and nodded. Yes, but I don't need your herbs. It doesn't have much use for me. But I have 2 level 6 herbs. Just when Guang Wei was about to say something else, Yimo waved his hand and stopped her. He suddenly spoke out loud, "Everyone, I believe that you've all gotten large amounts of precious herbs here and you're desperate to go out." Yimo's words immediately caught the attention of all cultivators there. Of course, they wanted to get out. "Do you have a way out?" the Southern Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator suddenly asked coldly. Yimo didn't answer, seeing that his attitude wasn't nice. He looked at the other cultivators and waited for someone to ask. The Golden Core State Peak Stage Master saw that a mere Golden Core State level cultivator dared to ignore him, so he was about to rage. But the Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator next to him stopped him. "Let's see what he has to say first. If he doesn't have a good reason, we can attack him then." Ji Jiyuan from the Ghost Immortal sect said slowly, "Dao Friendyi, if you really have a way for me to leave, I can give you a few herbs." Yimo smiled. He had been waiting for those words. He then glanced at the cultivators before him and said calmly, "This wooden house is a teleportation formation, but it's incomplete. A master who excels in formation must complete this formation. And I happen to be that formation master. While you were gathering the herbs, I spent 5 days of arduous work and finally completed this formation." Before Yimo even finished, a few desperate cultivator tried to rush into the wooden house. Yet when they arrived at the door, they were blocked by Yimo's defense formation. Seeing this, Yimo's expression sunk and said coldly, "I paid a great deal to finish this formation and you want to just use it for free? I finished this formation, so if you want to use it, you have to take out something I'm happy with." When Yimo started speaking, the Southern Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator's face looked happy. But when Yimo asked them to pay, his face sunk again. "You're a mere Golden Core State Level 1 cultivator. Do you want everyone to give you something? How long do you think your defense formation can last if we attack together?" Yimo sneered and took out a jade card. "If you want to use this teleportation formation, you must use a jade card I made. Without it, no one can pass through it unless you're also a formation master like me. Even if you all attack together, my formation can last at least 30 seconds. During that time, I can leave this formation easily. How long do you think I need to stop you guys for?" Yimo acted like this because he knew there were no formation masters there. Otherwise, they would have long seen that the small wooden house was a formation. Hearing this, the cultivator was furious. He was about to attack Yimo's defense formation. Yimo sneered and took out his jade card. He stood on the teleportation formation and said calmly, "Since you think you can get out on your own, then I'll be leaving first, guys." "Wait." Ji Jiyuan stopped the furious Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator and also quickly stopped Yimo. If things were really as Yimo said, then if he left, no one would be able to leave. The Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator also realized he couldn't attack now, despite his fury. Yimo wasn't really going to leave. Otherwise, he wouldn't have waited until then. So, he got off the teleportation formation and said to Ji Jiyuan, "What do you have to say? How do we know what you say is the truth?" Ji Jiyuan already believed Yimo's words. Yimo could tell that Ji Jiyuan believed him, but he was bargaining. He sneered, "I've spent so much effort and wasted all this time to repair the teleportation formation. I wasted countless materials for that. If you believe me, then we can do business. If not, don't come over." Qin Muxin wanted to laugh. She had been watching Yimo. He had just placed some formation flags at the start, certainly without spending much time or materials. The formation must have also been complete from the beginning, and it had nothing to do with Yimo. She didn't say this, however. Otherwise, Yimo would cause rage. In fact, the teleportation formation had been complete, but there was a stealth restriction on it so other people couldn't see it. Yet, Yimo could. At the same time, Yimo changed the formation so that only those with a card could go through. That meant that without Yimo, these people would eventually find it and leave without the jade card. The small wooden room doesn't belong to you. What right do you have to take over it? A Southern Golden Core State Level 8 cultivator roared in contempt. He was the one who had taken the herb garden that belonged to Yimo, but Yimo hadn't dared say anything. This had made him look down on Yimo. The herb garden outside wasn't yours. Why did you take it? Yimo jeered at him. He then looked at Guangwei. Martial sister Guangwei, if you trust me, come in. I'll let you go first. Okay. Without thought, Guangwei walked into the small wooden room. Seeing Guangwei taking out the spirit herb, Yimo smiled and stopped her. No need, I'll let you go for free. Guangwei blushed and took the jade card. Shun then put it on the teleportation formation. Everyone saw Guangwei walk onto the teleportation formation, and after a white ray of light flashed, she disappeared. Seeing this, everyone was shook. After all, giving some spirit herbs to Yimo was better than being locked up in there forever. Knowing that they could leave for certain, some people weren't worried and instead looked around for other exits. Chapter 927, How Nice I Am to You. Chapter 927, How Nice I Am to You. Yimo wasn't worried at all. He played with the jade cards, waiting to get paid. Those Golden Core State peak stages cursed, but unless they found another way out, if the teleportation formation was really as Yimo said it was, then no one would be able to open it after he left. Yimo wasn't worried, because he knew for sure that there was no other way out. Even if there were, it would be through the mist, but he believed no one would dare to try that out. Indeed, even when a few cultivators searched the entire valley, they didn't find another way out. Qin Mushin walked to Yimo's wooden house and said, "Martial brother Yi, I'm willing to give you spirit herbs." Yimo let her inside and said quietly, "Seeing that you didn't expose me, I'll give you the special right to pass free." Qin Mushin blushed. She was thinking it might be more because Yimo had rejected the marriage in front of her face, but she couldn't really say that, so she just accepted the card and went into the teleportation formation. Qin Mushin was in fact right. Yimo was indeed feeling a little guilty. But the main thing was that most of the herbs were on Liu Yutang. He only needed to catch Liu Yutang. So like this, he would still get what he wanted and seem like a good person at the same time. Seeing this, Liu Yutang let Chichi go onto the teleportation formation. What everyone didn't understand was why Yimo let her pass for free. Everyone was contemptuous of Yimo. This guy let all the beautiful girls pass for free. Clearly he was a lecherous person. The other two female cultivators from the south also rejoiced. They decided to let Yimo take a little advantage of them when they went in. He wouldn't be able to really do anything to them anyway, and if they didn't have to pay spirit herbs thanks to it, they would be earning big. Liu Yutang rejoiced too. Yimo had great talent, but he still had a weakness towards beautiful women. It seemed Immortal Herb Valley was going to be lucky this time. Liu Yutang stepped forward to the teleportation formation. "Martial brother Yi, hello. Thank you for helping my martial sisters. This is my communications bead. If you go out and have some time, come visit us at the Immortal Herb Valley." Liu Yutang didn't mention anything about her spirit herbs at all. Yimo took it and put it away without even looking at it, then he said calmly, "Thank you, martial sister Liu." But then his tone changed. Martial sister Liu got 12 core building grasses, 84 smoke mist flowers, 31 purple back blue carrots and 16 condensed green vines. The more Yimo spoke, the worse her face looked. She didn't think Yimo had been watching her constantly from his small wooden house. Why was he saying this? "I won't take much. Just give me half of everything. Of course, if it's an odd number, then you can have the extra one." "Are you crazy?" Liu Yutang immediately yelled. Yimo shook his head, "I'm not crazy. After you go out, martial sister, You will know how lucky you are to be in the same sect as Guang Wei. Liu Yuetang's face changed, and her tone suddenly went cold. What if I don't agree? Yi Mo smiled. Then please step back, I didn't spend that much effort to be free labor. Hearing this, even the people outside the formation couldn't accept it. Liu Yutang knew Yi Mo a little at least, yet this Yi cultivator was going to take half of her herbs. How much would he take from them strangers? Liu Yutang wanted to attack immediately, but she stopped herself. Even if she killed Yi Mo, the people outside wouldn't let her go. Remembering how Yi Mo had saved martial sister Guang Wei, Liu Yutang sighed and took out half of the herbs, saying coldly, I'm giving you these herbs not as payment but as thanks for saving martial sister Guang Wei. Yi Mo took the storage bag and checked it carefully before taking out a jade card and giving it to Liu Yutang. Then he said casually, you should consider yourself lucky that you didn't attack. My temper isn't that good, so even if I wouldn't have killed you on Guang Wei's account, I would take your storage ring at least. You. Liu Yutang was furious as she took the jade card and glanced at Yi Mo contemptuously. I won't fight over something useless like that with you. Soon you will know how nice I am being to you. You're not bad, but soon you will realize the difference between you and someone at the Golden Core State Peak stage. Liu Yutang cursed. If she knew this was going to happen, she would have left most of the herbs in Liu Yuetang's or Qin Muxin's care. Yi Mo activated the teleportation formation immediately, but before she left, he also said, soon you will know how nice I was to you as well. Zhe Qiushirei then walked into the teleportation formation and before Yi Mo asked, he took out half of his herbs and said, Martial brother Yi, here are my herbs. Yi Mo took out a jade card and said, I was going to ask 60%, but since you are showing initiative, I'll just take 50%. Zhe Qiushirei smiled bitterly. He knew that Yi Mo was saying this not to him, but to the people outside. Yi Mo meant that they had to give the herbs to him without asking, or things wouldn't be so easy. Seeing that 5 people had left already, the Golden Core State Level 8 that took Yi Mo's Spirit Herb Garden asked Yi Mo to go in next. Yi Mo saw the killing intent in his eyes and knew that the fellow didn't harbor good intentions. As soon as he walked in, he said, I'm Pan Yi, remember it. Then he took out a flying sword and attacked Yi Mo. The cultivators outside saw this and knew that Pan Yi wanted to subjugate Yi Mo as quickly as possible. They were all preparing to attack. But before they could, they heard a thud as Pan Yi was flicked out of the room, smashing into a herb garden. Yi Mo looked at Pan Yi coldly. He didn't say anything, but this was more threatening than anything he could say. At this moment, no one dared to doubt Yi Mo's formation capabilities anymore. He just activated the formation and flicked Pan Yi out without even having to attack himself. If Yi Mo wasn't concerned with the cultivators outside, he could probably kill Pan Yi at any time. He really is a formation master. Our South Peace State is full of geniuses, but we've never seen a formation master this young. My God, how does he do it? The Golden Core State Peak stage from the South murmured in shock. This person set up such a formation in a rush. Perhaps he's already a level 4 formation master. That's too scary, another Southern Golden Core State level 7 commented. In the cultivation realm, formation masters were divided into 9 levels. Those who could lay level 1 to level 3 formations were called formation masters. Between level 4 and level 6, one can be called a formation grandmaster. If one can set up level 7 to level 9 formations, then that would be a formation supreme master. No one could lay formations beyond level 9, because that would be an immortal formation, and those who can lay those are called immortal formation masters. The reason why everyone was so shocked was because even level 3 formation masters were very rare, much less a level 4 formation grandmaster like Yi Mo. Those other formation grandmasters were all hundreds of years old, no one was as young as Yi Mo. Chapter 928, Give you 2 words. Chapter 928, Give you 2 words. Pan Yi felt embarrassed that he had been kicked out like a dead dog by a level 1 Golden Core State cultivator, despite Yi Mo having done it with the formation. So as soon as he got up, he tried to attack Yi Mo's defense formation. But he was immediately stopped by Ji Jiyuan. After Liu Yutang had left, he was the only Golden Core State Peak stage cultivator from the north. He stopped Pan Yi's flying sword and said coldly, If you dare to attack the formation again, I will kill you. Pan Yi subconsciously shivered. There was still a huge difference between a Golden Core State Level 8 Master and Golden Core State Peak Stage Master. Moreover, from the bleak Kai Ji Jiyuan was emitting, he might even be at false soul state. On top of that, even his sect's martial brother wasn't speaking up for him. Those people who had wanted to do the same immediately gave up on the thought. Trying to go into the formation of a formation Grand Master to capture him was a joke. The South Peace State cultivator didn't wait for Yi Mo to ask, and they just took out half of their herbs. Soon, Yi Mo had an abundance of herbs, and they were all precious ones. Yi Mo felt he had played well his move. So what if he offended people? After he returned to River State, he would run away with Yangzhou and the others. Luoyu continent was quite big, who could find him? Moreover, how could a Dao cultivator be timid? After a few cultivators left, the Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator also walked into Yi Mo's small room. I'm from a 6-star sect in the south, Lightning Forgery sect's Huang Yushan. Dao friend Yi is already a formation Grand Master at such a young age. I'm very impressed, here's my herbs. Yi Mo took the bag and checked the herbs. Then, he threw them back. You're missing 10 life essence fruits, 4 ghostface mushrooms and a 5 colors lotus. Huang Yushan was about to rage after hearing this. He hadn't thought Yi Mo could tell so clearly how many herbs he had gotten. Yi Mo didn't care what sect this old man came from. How dare this guy cut out on the payment? Yi Mo said coldly, hurry up. If you are not going to use the formation, I will push you out. There's many people in line. Huang Yushan felt very sullen, but he knew he couldn't do anything about it. Huang Yushan put his hand in the storage bag again. He had made up his mind that after he got out, he would wait for this insect. Yi Mo said at that moment, because you played dirty the first time, you need to give me 60% of your herbs to get out. You need to add 13 life essence fruits, 2 5 colors lotus, etc. Huang Yushan had just realized what Yi Mo meant when he said he was being nice to Liu Yutang. He looked at Yi Mo with fury and said word by word, I only have 3 5 colors lotus. You dare take 2. Yi Mo, you're a formation Grand Master indeed, but if I attack without consideration, do you think you can stop me? Don't be so cocky, young man, unless you want to stay in here forever. Yi Mo replied coldly, you have 5 seconds. In 5 seconds, you can P*SS off. Yi Mo was losing his patience. If that dude, Huang, didn't agree, he would flick him out first, and after everyone else had left, he would teach this guy a lesson. He had already completely offended these cultivators by asking for their herbs. He didn't need to suck up to them anymore. 1, 2, Yi Mo counted. Seeing this, everyone looked at Yi Mo in a daze. If this guy dared to do this to Huang Yushan, of course he would to Pan Yi, who was only at Golden Core State Level 8. I'll pay. Huang Yushan clenched his teeth and gave him his herbs. He had decided that after he left, even if he couldn't go collect herbs for the remaining 2 months, he would wait for Yi Mo. Yi Mo then checked the storage bag and said coldly, you're smart, otherwise, you wouldn't be giving me 60%. Huang Yushan's face was very bleak. However, he just took the jade card and went into the teleportation formation. After this, everyone else took out half of their herbs without having to be reminded. Even the 2 female cultivators who had wanted to seduce Yi Mo didn't bother trying. Soon, the remaining Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator from the south also paid half of his herbs and left. There were just 3 people outside now. One was Pan Yi, another was Qiu Xuanyu, and the last was the Ghost Immortal sect's Golden Core State Peak Stage Ji Jiyuan. Ji Jiyuan went inside and gave Yi Mo a strange look, but he still gave him half of his herbs. After Yi Mo gave him the jade card, Ji Jiyuan suddenly grabbed Yi Mo. Yi Mo sneered and didn't even bother stopping the attack. He threw a formation flag, and with the flash of a ray, Ji Jiyuan was kicked outside of the room. Ji Jiyuan didn't seem worried at all. He said coldly to Yi Mo, I have a jade card now. Even if you kick me out, if I break through the defense formation, do you think you can leave before I break it? I won't trouble you. Give me back the herbs you took from me and half of what you got. Before Yi Mo could reply, Ji Jiyuan took out 2 black beads and played with them. Perhaps, I only need to throw 1 bead to break your formation in a second. Hearing this, Pan Yi and Qiu Xuanyu were dazed. If they really fought and P** said Yi Mo off, Ji Jiyuan would be able to leave for certain, but they wouldn't. Moreover, they saw the black bead in Ji Jiyuan's hands. It was the burst yin bead made by nascent soul state cultivators. These beads were very powerful. It was powerful, but only nascent soul state cultivators could make it. Usually, nascent soul state cultivators wouldn't make it because it was made when they form their nascent soul, using the impurities and dirt of their body. Most of them didn't make it, as it split their attention and affect the quality of their nascent soul. Hence, burst-yin beads were very rare. Ji Jiyuan watched Yi Mo closely. As soon as Yi Mo dared to get on the teleportation formation, he would immediately throw the bust-yin bead. However, Yi Mo didn't go on the teleportation formation. He took out a formation flag instead and sneered at Ji Jiyuan. "You won't get my storage ring nor my herbs, but I have 2 words for you." Ji Jiyuan raised the burst-yin bead and sneered. "You're very bold, but you can try. My burst-yin bead can break your formation in a second. Young man, spirit herbs are good, but you need to have the life to enjoy them. No matter what words you say, I'll only give you 1 chance." Nt Yi Mo then shook his head. If he hadn't thought of this possible scenario, he wouldn't have even needed to stand there to gather wealth. "You're asking to die," Ji Jiyuan yelled. He was about to throw out his burst-yin bead, but the next moment he was dazed. The jade card in his hand turned into pieces. Without thought, Ji Jiyuan threw out one of the burst-yin beads. If Yi Mo really tried to leave, he wouldn't be able to. He was sure Yi Mo needed 5 seconds to teleport away. During this time, his burst-yin bead would have already broken the formation. Chapter 929, Already a Public Enemy. Chapter 929, Already a Public Enemy. Yi Mo knew the power of the burst-yin bead and didn't expect Ji Jiyuan to have it. It wouldn't be able to break his formation in a second, but his formation wouldn't last more than 3 seconds. In that case, he wouldn't have time to teleport away. If Ji Jiyuan had taken out the burst-yin bead immediately, Yi Mo wouldn't have been able to collect everyone's herbs, but Ji Jiyuan had been greedy and wanted Yi Mo to collect the spirit herbs for him, so he had stayed until the end. But Yi Mo wasn't afraid. He wasn't going to just stand there and watch the burst-yin bead break his formation. Yi Mo threw out all of his formation flags and sneered, "Had you used your burst-yin bead right at the start, then I wouldn't have been able to do anything but run. But now, you deserve the 2 words I gave you." The flags floated in an orderly fashion and surrounded the burst-yin bead as soon as Yi Mo threw them out. Rumble! A huge explosion sounded. The formation flags Yi Mo threw out quickly formed a simple defensive formation, but it was pulverized instantly by the power of the burst-yin bead. But Yi Mo didn't want the explosion to reach his innermost defensive arrangement and threw out more formation flags to surround it. This kept happening, as though Yi Mo had an endless amount of formation flags on him. Eventually, the power of the burst-yin bead was shaved away by Yi Mo's countless formation flags. The defensive formation in the small wooden room was only a little broken. Yi Mo threw a few more formation flags out, and the damaged parts were instantly repaired. Ji Jiyuan looked at all of this in a daze. His burst-yin bead's power had been wasted away by Yi Mo's formation flags in such a shameless way. He was at a loss for words. He said he would break Yi Mo's formation in a second, yet more than half a minute had passed, and Yi Mo's formation was still there. Ji Jiyuan didn't expect this mere golden core state level 1 to be so calculating. He seemed to have long since prepared countless formation flags. From how he could make an impromptu formation in mid-air, it showed that he had long since built the formation foundations for them. Ji Jiyuan thought of himself as a calculative person, but this guy was even more calculating than him. Meanwhile, Yi Mo was sweating cold. Being careful wasn't a mistake indeed. He thought of the possibility of someone using a single-use magic artifact thanks to the red lightning from before, and so he made a few more defensive formation bases in the air that could be activated by formation flags as a countermeasure for such things. Who would have thought that this extra move would actually save his life? Otherwise, he really wouldn't know if he would have been able to get away. Pan Yi and Qiu Xuanyu also looked at the confrontation speechlessly. Pan Yi's mouth was bitter. He knew his ending wouldn't be good. This golden core state level 1 was playing around with even a golden core state peak stage, so wasn't he not even worth mentioning? Yi Mo then took out another handful of formation flags and said, "Gee, you have another Burstian bead, right? Why don't you take it out?" If it wasn't that Yi Mo didn't dare to leave now as he still had some business here, he would have long since gone out. He didn't care if these three lived or not. But Yi Mo believed there was something strange about how there could still be such dense spirit Kai after the restrictions were broken. He had to search everything again after everyone left. Yi Mo didn't know that other people had also realized that, but even if they stayed behind, they wouldn't be able to get anything. Ji Jiyuan looked bitterly at Yi Mo. "Dao friend Yi, it was my bad. I'm willing to give you more spirit herbs. Please let me go on account that we're all northern cultivators." Yi Mo said, "I'm easy to talk to and very generous. You only need to give me half of your herbs, but you will need to add 100k top-grade spirit stones. Also, since you scared me with your Burstian bead, you will have to leave the remaining one behind as compensation." Hearing this, Ji Jiyuan's heart ached. He didn't get anything in the end and only lost 100k top-grade spirit stones as well as a Burstian bead. As for staying behind, who knew if he would still be alive after being trapped in there for a few decades? From a certain perspective, he actually did feel that Yi Mo was rather easy to negotiate with. The 100k spirit stones wasn't really much. The only precious thing was the Burstian bead. Yi Mo had considered taking Ji Jiyuan's storage ring, but that would mean them becoming mortal enemies. He was sure that even if it meant Ji Jiyuan not being able to go out, he wouldn't leave behind his storage ring. Yi Mo wasn't confident in taking down Ji Jiyuan anyway, so he had left some space for him. Furthermore, Ji Jiyuan was from the Ghost Immortal sect. He could kill him, but he couldn't allow his sect to know about it. Those who had entered the hidden space were all elites of their sects. It wasn't too bad to rob their spirit herbs, but killing those elite members would be another story. Ji Jiyuan entered the small wooden house for the second time and gave Yi Mo a bag filled with 100k spirit stones, but then Yi Mo threw the bag back and said coldly, "How come I don't see the half of the spirit herbs?" Ji Jiyuan was stunned. He realized that Yi Mo didn't mean the half of his spirit herbs that he had already given him just now, but that Yi Mo meant he wanted another half of the remaining herbs he had. This meant that he would have given Yi Mo 75% of all his herbs. At this moment, Ji Jiyuan no longer thought Yi Mo was easy to talk to. But he had no negotiation rights anymore. Ji Jiyuan didn't bother arguing with Yi Mo and just took out another half of his herbs and gave that to Yi Mo. He had decided that after he went out, no matter where in the world Yi Mo was, he was going to catch him and devour him. Seeing Ji Jiyuan leave, Qiu Xuanyu took out half of his herbs without making trouble and left. He swore that he would rather face nascent soul state masters than Yi Mo. Seeing that only Pan Yi remained, Yi Mo had nothing to worry about anymore. He might not be a match for Pan Yi, but with his formations he really didn't fear this Pan fellow. Pan Yi looked at him and asked, "How many herbs do you want?" He knew that Yi Mo would definitely ask for more, and he was prepared to give all he had. He would just wait for Yi Mo after going out. "Give me 80% and that spirit crystal. Then you can leave," Yi Mo said coldly. Pan Yi was shook, as he didn't expect Yi Mo to only ask for 80%. Yi Mo had his own plans, though. If he took all of Pan Yi's herbs, it would break his hope, and he might as well kill him then. A person who loses hope will become crazy. But Yi Mo didn't plan on killing him yet. Pan Yi didn't object and took out what was asked of him without hesitation. Seeing Pan Yi teleport away, Yi Mo secretly breathed a sigh of relief. He had become a public enemy now. The people would probably be waiting for him outside, but Yi Mo didn't plan on leaving anytime soon. Chapter 930, Waiting for Yi Mo. Chapter 930, Waiting for Yi Mo. At an ordinary place on the outskirts of the desert, a hidden teleportation formation revealed itself. More than 20 cultivators had gathered here. There were the 18 cultivators who had been teleported out and 2 friends, who they had called over. Qiu Xuanyu was the only one who had left immediately. Everyone stared at the formation, waiting for one person, that Yi Mo, who had robbed their herbs with shameless means. They were waiting there to take back what belonged to them. Many saw Qiu Xuanyu run away and they immediately looked down on him, but no one said anything. Qiu Xuanyu was completely scared of Yi Mo. He would rather get away and not take back his herbs than face Yi Mo again. The formation brightened up again. It was Pan Yi. The Golden Core State Level 8 cultivator who had come with him went up to him and asked, "Martial Brother Pan, how much did he take?" Pan Yi's face was green. He said coldly, 80%, and that's spirit crystal. Huang Yushan realized that everyone except Yi Mo had come out, so he immediately got up and saluted with his fists. "That cocky little insect took most of our herbs. Our only goal in staying here is to rip him to pieces. But before this, I hope everyone can report their lost herbs in case we start a fight when we divide the herbs." Huang Yushan's words immediately got the approval of many cultivators. Huang Yushan nodded and said, "In that case, I'll speak first. I lost 60% of my herbs, 5 colors lotus, etc." Liu Yutang was shook. She hadn't expected that Yi Mo would take more from Huang Yushan than from her. Ji Jiyuan then stood up and said coldly, "I lost 75% of my herbs, and 1 Burstian Vide. The herbs are etc." Ji Jiyuan soon realized what Yi Mo meant when he said that soon she would understand how nice he was bring to her. Hearing all these cultivators report the herbs they had lost, she suddenly didn't have hatred towards Yi Mo anymore. She suddenly smiled to her martial sisters and said, "Let's go." Seeing them leave, many of the cultivators didn't understand, but no one asked them to stay. After all, when Yi Mo came out, if they didn't take their portion, it meant that everyone would get a little more. After they had walked away, Chichi couldn't help asking, "Big martial sister, why didn't you wait for your 50% of herbs?" Liu Yutang smiled bitterly. "Do you think we could have gotten it back? If Yi Mo can't even think of this situation, he would have long been subjugated by those who stayed behind. If I'm not wrong, they are just wasting their time there. In 3 days, almost all of them will leave. But that's the teleport exit. If he's to come out, he has to pass there. Can he come out from other places?" Chichi asked in bewilderment. Liu Yutang shook her head. "I don't really understand this either, but I believe that since he dares to do this, he might have another way out. He's very cunning and meticulous. I don't think I'm wrong about him. In the future, try not to be enemies with someone like him." Qin Muxin didn't say anything. Her master had also told her this. However, Yi Mo didn't have another way out. The teleportation formation had a set destination and the person who had set it up was much more powerful than him. With his current power, he couldn't change it into a random location teleportation formation. If he made any mistakes, he might get stuck in space-time and lose his life. Random location teleportation formations required high-level materials and a very powerful cultivation level. But Yi Mo didn't care. He had gotten the spirit herbs he wanted. It was enough for him to reach nascent soul state. Even if the others were waiting outside, by using the most obvious method, he could leave just when he was about to be teleported out of the herb valley. The southern cultivators wouldn't be teleported to the north far state, so the only one he needed to worry about was Ji Jiyuan. Yi Mo then went into the ravaged herb gardens. Yi Mo felt the dense spirit Kai immediately. There was definitely something up, as all the spirit herbs there were gone. Yi Mo reached his spirit sense down the garden. He was only at Golden Core State Level 1, but his spirit sense was similar to Golden Core State middle stage cultivators. Even so, after spreading it tens of kms down, he wasn't able to reach any further. Yi Mo decided to use earth mobility. The more he went down, the denser he felt the spirit Kai to be. An hour later, Yi Mo stopped. He had understood the source of the dense spirit Kai. It was an underground spirit range. It was low grade, but Yi Mo felt that perhaps in a few decades, it would become a middle grade spirit range. So that was it. How could he take it out though? Yi Mo realized that he wasn't the only one who had found out about it. Those who had come in knew about this, but they didn't have a way to take it away, so they pretended they didn't know. The reason they had pretended they didn't know was so that they could report this and come back next time to take it away. The value of a spirit range couldn't be measured with spirit stones. Even a 5-star sect might not have a good spirit range. Yi Mo had heard that 6-star sects had their own middle grade spirit ranges. He must take the spirit range away. With it, he could cultivate anywhere he wanted. He still had some spirit marrow yet, but with his cultivation consumption speed, it was at most enough for him to reach golden core state level 3. The spirit range was far from as good as the spirit marrow pond, but it had more spirit chi. No storage ring could take a spirit range away. Even if one could, Yimo wouldn't be able to put it inside. Yimo immediately went inside the golden page world. He knew that he could only use the golden page world to take it away. But when Yimo went inside, he was shocked to find that the golden page world had expanded multiple times. He knew that the golden page world would expand after he reached golden core state, but even when he had reached foundation establishment state, the increase hadn't been this significant. If the golden page world hadn't been his, he suspected that his spirit sense wouldn't have been able to scan until the end. It was still dull and grey inside. Yimo scanned and saw Silver sitting in the spirit marrow pond. Her feathers looked whiter. "Are you a spirit beast now?" Yimo looked dazedly at the big bird. He hadn't thought that a bird he had brought from Earth could become a level 1 spirit beast, or had she always been a spirit beast? When Ning Qingxue first got Silver, Yimo had thought it was a blue phoenix, whose feathers get more and more blue. Silver's plumage had gotten whiter, however. Hearing this, Silver glanced at Yimo contemptuously and continued to squirm in the spirit marrow pond. Yimo ignored her. After seeing that the golden page world was this big, he realized that he could fit 1,000 spirit ranges, much less one. What he needed to figure out now was how to bring it inside. Chapter 931, No Exit. Chapter 931, No Exit. Yimo exited the golden page world and tried to move the spirit range inside it, but reality proved it to be nothing but an exercise in pointlessness. The spirit range didn't even shake a bit. Yimo sighed. If he wanted to put the range into his golden page world like that, he would need to at least reach the hollow spirit state. Just when he was out of ideas, he suddenly felt the spirit range move a little. When he checked it carefully, he confirmed that the spirit range had moved a little indeed. The spirit range wanted to escape. Yimo was shook. Yimo immediately perused the spirit range with his spirit sense and found that it was moving indeed, even though the movement was minimal. So the spirit range had its own will. It had been there for countless years and never moved. Why would it move as soon as they came? Yimo thought about and understood what was going on. This spirit range must have been controlled by some ancient powerful being to provide spirit chi for the 7 herb gardens. The herb gardens contained a formation that bound the spirit range. When the group with Yimo entered, none of them knew formations well and destroyed the formation. Even he didn't realize that the 7 herb gardens formed a formation. Without the formation binding it, the spirit range could run away and find a better place to reach the middle grade. Formation? Yimo suddenly realized that perhaps he could use a formation to move it away into his golden page world. Thinking about this, Yimo didn't hesitate to go into action. He started building formations around the spirit range immediately. Yimo's power wasn't too high, but his formation skills were good. A week later, Yimo's formation had covered the entire spirit range. As Yimo kept throwing out formation flags, the spirit range started to shake. The entire ground started to shake too. Yimo worried that if he took the spirit range, the entire valley might collapse. No matter how worried he was though, Yimo did what he needed to do. And finally, indeed a huge thud sounded as the spirit range was shifted into his golden page world. The thunderous sound seemed capable of crushing one's soul. Without taking so much as a moment to hesitate, Yimo dashed into the golden page world. Even though he had earth mobility, the huge force of the earth crashing down would be enough to pulverize him. As soon as Yimo came in, he saw the spirit range emit a faint white mist that circulated at one side of the golden page world. Meanwhile, Silver was watching the spirit range worriedly. Feeling the dense spirit chi inside, Yimo breathed comfortably. No one would believe that someone had been able to seize a spirit range with golden core state power. Yimo knew that the collapse outside wouldn't finish for a while, so he sat inside the spirit marrow pond and started cultivating. The spirit chi was devoured by Yimo like crazy, and his power kept increasing. When Yimo opened his eyes again, He was shook. Another 20% of the spirit marrow pond was gone, yet he had only barely reached the middle stage of level 1. Yimo looked at the pond and murmured, "How many spirit stones will need to reach golden core state level 9? How many spirit herbs will I need?" He didn't dare to imagine, his consumption rate was crazy. Although he had a spirit range now, its potency was a far cry from the spirit marrow pond. Yimo didn't continue cultivating in the pond. He would be wasting too much. It would be much better for Yangzhu and Yi Ling to cultivate in it. Yimo started to organize his herbs. These were the herbs which had been planted around the spirit range, so they were important. Especially the 2 5-colors lotuses, so Yimo used a formation to protect them. Yimo looked at the vast patch of level 5 herbs and felt a sense of satisfaction. He had gone through a bit of danger, but the harvest was worth it. Yimo came out of the golden page world and returned to the herb garden. The scene in front of him was astonishing. The valley was a mess, there were no longer any remnants of the 7 herb gardens, and all that was left were 7 big ravines instead. Even the small wooden house had disappeared, much less the teleportation formation. Yimo sighed. Even if there weren't people waiting for him on the other side, he wouldn't be able to get away. So now Yimo's greatest problem was how to go out. Yimo went around again but didn't find another way out. The formation he had used to threaten others with was destroyed by his own hands. The mist was still dense outside, and Yimo didn't dare to try going through it. But Yimo knew that the mist might really be his only way out. So Yimo called out Shadowless and told it to approach the mist. After Shadowless flew up to a few meters from the mist, it quickly came back to Yimo's shoulder, and no matter how much Yimo urged it, it didn't dare to go up again. Even Shadowless couldn't go near the mist. Yimo really didn't have any ideas left. He had wanted to use the method he used to escape Changfen Valley again. If Shadowless weren't afraid of the mist, he would let Shadowless take the golden page world across the mist. But now Yimo began to worry. He didn't want to stay there. No one would come there even 50 years later. Suddenly, Yimo felt a sense of danger. The mist started to slowly pour in, and the closest part was only a few meters away from him. In his shock, Yimo immediately went back into the golden page world without thought. Yimo then immediately made a surveillance formation disk and threw it out. Through it, Yimo saw the valley become slowly covered, and in no time, the entire valley would be covered in that deadly mist. Yimo sighed. He knew that he had completely lost the way to go out. Yimo guessed that the mist had probably been locked out by the garden's formation. Yimo then just made a temporary home on the spirit range and started to concoct pills there. He wanted to see if the mist would slowly dissipate into the environment without the confinement to keep it in place. If not, then he could only hope that he would be teleported out after the 3 months were up, despite the possibilities of that not being great. Atop the spirit range, Yimo used his Mist Lotus Heartfire and started concocting pills. Yimo felt a smooth sense of satisfaction. With all the high-level spirit herbs Yimo had, cauldrons of pills were quickly concocted. Yimo concocted pills for an entire week before checking the outside again. Seeing that the mist was still dense, Yimo began to turn disappointed. Wait! Yimo saw 2 ants crawl slowly on the messy ground. Even Shadowless was scared of the mist. How come those 2 ants were fine? Yimo then noticed that the mist felt the same as before, yet also seemed to have lost something. And that seemed to be a level of intelligence. Was this change also due to him pulling away the spirit range? Thinking about this, Yimo called out Shadowless again and threw him out without regard. He kept watch of Shadowless, though, and was ready to summon it back if there were any danger. Shadowless was dazed after being randomly thrown out of the golden page world, but when it saw the endless mist, its first reaction was to run. But soon, it stopped. It walked around the mist and realized in wonder that it didn't seem to affect him anymore. Yimo thought, is there really no danger here anymore? Thinking like this, he also went out into the mist. Chapter 932, The Spirit That Devours Space. Chapter 932, The Spirit That Devours Space. Yimo stood in the mist. He didn't go back to the golden page world because he knew that it was different from before. It was just some ordinary mist now and it didn't harm him at all. Even when he walked back to the place where the mist had been sealed, nothing happened. Emo carefully sent his spirit sense out. He soon found that his spirit sense could go through places he couldn't before. Without much effort, Emo found the cultivator that had disappeared. He was just a pile of bones now, even the clothes on him were gone. Emo believed that the mist had lost its poisonous and spirit sense barrier properties after he had pulled away the spirit range. Theoretically, he should be safe now, but he had a sense of danger. The dead cultivator's ring was right next to his body, but Emo didn't have any intentions of picking it up at all. He had to leave the valley quickly. That was his only thought. Was there something with intelligence there before he had put away the spirit range? Was it an evil spirit or something else? Thinking about this, Emo's body got colder. That scary feeling was getting more and more intense. He didn't even turn away, he just dashed away on his flying pike. There were no longer any air restrictions. A spirit range, an evil spirit, a corrosive mist. Emo just wanted to fly away as fast as possible. A strong suction force came. Emo subconsciously scanned where he was before, and what he saw made his skin crawl. His spirit sense couldn't find anything, but the place where he had stood had disappeared into thin air. It was just like a huge football field that had a block dug out of it. The football field was still there, but it had lost a piece of it. That part seemed to have completely disappeared into nothing. Emo could guess that if he had stood there, then he would have disappeared along with it. Emo was a golden core state cultivator, but there was nothing he could do against such unexplainable phenomena. Regardless if that was real or fake, Emo knew he had to leave this place quickly. Otherwise, even if he went into the golden page world, it might disappear too. The suction seemed to be getting bigger and bigger. Emo felt that if he slowed down even a little bit, he would be sucked away and disappear from this world. Emo didn't dare to look back at all, nor pick up the countless rings on the bones below. He took out one of his extreme-grade spirit stones and placed it on the flying pike without hesitation. With this powering it, the flying pike instantly speed up. Emo felt that suction force didn't seem as strong as before, and he finally breathed at ease. 2 days later, Emo heard his flying pike crack. Emo realized that he had made it go too fast and it had broken. Emo threw it away, picked up the unfinished spirit stones and dashed away on Zishu. Emo had slowed down, so half a day later, he felt that suction force again. However, he realized that he was about to get out of the mist. Emo didn't even dare to look at what kind of place it was. He used his cultivation essence and accelerated to the maximum before dashing away. When he left behind the last sliver of mist, Emo could breathe a little better, but he still kept running at full speed. He was scared of that unseen force. He had never heard of something capable of devouring space. Emo felt that everything that had been in the herb garden's secret land seemed to be part of a cycle, as though it had been designed by someone. Emo believed that he had broken someone's set-up land by taking out the spirit range. Thinking about this, he felt extremely uneasy. Wait. Since there was a teleportation formation in the herb garden, why were there still so many bones in the mist? They must have come from outside too. How come they didn't leave through the teleportation formation in the wooden house? Emo connected the dots and his heart skipped a beat. The wooden house had a complete teleportation formation, but it wasn't for them. That teleportation formation was hidden. He had changed the formation flags to his. This way, the formation could be activated. In other words, if he hadn't changed the formation flags, even if someone found the teleportation formation, they wouldn't have been able to use it unless that person was a formation great master. However, those who had come in there were elite sect members. Moreover, formation grandmasters couldn't just be at golden core state level. It was very hard to become a formation grandmaster in the lifespan of a golden core state. He was a formation master. If he hadn't found that formation, then everyone would be trapped inside and forced to find a way out through the mist. From this point of view, he had saved everyone. The person who had designed this secret land had only one purpose, and that was to attract people to come in and make them go into the mist to be devoured by it and that unseen force. The Herb Valley had been around for countless years. This meant that countless people had died there. That's why there were hidden restrictions placed on the herb gardens. It was only after all these years that the restrictions had started to get weaker. Yi Mo suspected that there was also a hidden restriction around the wooden house, but only they had gotten to see it. Yi Mo guessed that the spirit herb garden was meant to feed that unknown thing. The primary source of strength was the essence blood of cultivators. Yi Mo suddenly realized that if he wanted to know if he had guessed right, he just had to look at how old the spirit herbs were. Thinking about this, Yi Mo started to check the herbs in his golden page world. Chapter 933, Southpiece 10 Beauties. Chapter 933, Southpiece 10 Beauties. When Yi Mo checked the age of the herbs, he was sure that he had just messed up someone's plan. The herbs he got were all at least 500 years old, and they looked very good because they were growing on a spirit range. Yi Mo was shocked. He finally understood why the spirit range had been trying to leave. Probably according to plan, when the person didn't need any more essence blood, he would let the last group of cultivators break the restriction. The spirit range would then slowly move into the mist and be devoured by the being inside the mist. By taking someone else's spirit range, Yi Mo ruined this person's setup. The being inside the mist won't be able to evolve like it was supposed to be due to this. This person had spent so much effort to set all this up, having even calculated what would happen all these years later so accurately. This being was definitely not someone Yi Mo could mess with. At the same time, Yi Mo knew that he had ended up offending this powerful being. Yi Mo didn't dare to so much as look back, as he just wanted to run as far away as possible. No matter if he'd guessed right or not, this valley's herb garden wasn't simple. The mist wasn't simple for sure. Yi Mo just kept flying on Zishu while eating a life essence pill every once in a while. He didn't even know how long he had been flying, when he finally breathed easy and suddenly saw 3 cultivators fighting. No matter where this place was, it was clear he had gotten away. The people fighting were 2 golden core state level 3 cultivators and 1 golden core state level 2. It seemed the level 2 and 1 level 3 were fighting the other level 3 cultivator. Yi Mo scanned them without caring too much about them. These people couldn't pose a threat to him. He found a place to sit. He had been running for a few days and nights and had long since been exhausted. The 3 cultivators saw Yi Mo appear and were dazed. But when they saw that Yi Mo was only at Golden Core State Level 1 and was eating pills while going to rest immediately, they understood that he must have escaped there. They ignored Yi Mo and kept fighting. After Yi Mo ate a stalagmite benefit pill to mediate the pill poison, he started to watch the fight. The lone cultivator was very handsome and had defined features, but he was clearly not going to last long. One of the other 2 had a pale face and hawk nose, whereas the other had a long face that didn't match his head. Huang Zhuo, Cai Shizhong, I've already given it to you. What else do you want? That handsome golden core state level 3 man kept panting and asking. Shihong Zhu, it's not that we have enmity with you, but we made a promise to someone. It's your fault for not having a good look at yourself. You always try to get close to Du Shuoying. Of course, if you are willing to destroy your face and swear to the heavenly Tao that you will never get close to Du Shuoying again, we can let you go, the pale-faced cultivator said. Yi Mo shook his head. That Shihong Zhu would be an idiot if he agreed. The pale-faced cultivator clearly had killing intent in his eyes. Shihong Zhu yelled, Huang Zhuo, are you crazy? Du Shuoying is one of the top 10 beauties in South Peace State. How can she like me? Did you get something wrong? Get it wrong? How come I heard that she met up with you alone more than once? Last time on the Tengpil Towers auction, you guys talked for an entire day. Are you just ordinary friends then? Huang Zhuo replied coldly. The long-faced cultivator suddenly laughed creepily and said, Hey, Shihong Zhu, your face is indeed pretty. If you had the chance, you might even get number 1 Wen Tsai and Luo Susu, much less number 9 Du Shuoying. Shihong Zhu was suddenly thrown into a daze for a moment as he reminisced Wen Tsai's goddess-like beauty. That day, he'd glanced at her from afar and ever since then, he could never forget her beauty and temperament. He wasn't that much into Du Shuoying, but he indeed had fallen in love with Wen Tsai. But he was aware that with his identity and status it would be hard to so much as talk to her, much less get close to her. The reason why he could talk to Du Shuoying was because she approved of him. Using this lapse of focus of Shihong Zhu, The horse-faced cultivator pierced his shoulder with his flying sword. Shi Hongzhu quickly retreated and ate a pill, not daring to divide his attention again. But Shi Hongzhu was already injured, so how could the two let go of such an opportunity? They attacked with even more force, trying to kill Shi Hongzhu in one go. However, their two spirit artifacts didn't land on Shi Hongzhu, as they were instead struck back by a purple ray. Yi Mo smashed the two spirit artifacts away with just one sword, and he sent the men back many meters. The two looked at Yi Mo, who was holding Zi Shu in a daze and couldn't react for a long time. Even though they had already almost exhausted their cultivation essence, their combined attack wasn't something a golden core state level 1 could casually break. What happened? Huang Zhuo looked at Cai Shizhong and asked. Cai Shizhong shook his head and said in a quiet voice, "This young man is a tough one. He just attacked casually, but I felt like his attack was unstoppable. I don't think we're a match for him even if we attack together. He must be hiding his power." Shi Hongzhu was still in a daze, as he didn't understand why Yi Mo saved him and how this mere golden core state level 1's attack could be so powerful. He wouldn't even dare to believe it if he hadn't seen it with his own eyes. This golden core state level 1's power was more absurd than some core disciples of Nine-Star Sect. He had seen the Nine-Star Sect Lightning Cloud Sect's core disciple Tian Aofeng attack once. That was in the South Peace City's Trial Stone Square, when Tian Aofeng was just at Golden Core State Level 4, yet with his attack, he entered the ranks of the Golden Core State Hall of Fame. To enter the Golden Core State Hall of Fame, a cultivation of at least the Golden Core State Tertiary stage was required, yet he had been only at Golden Core State Level 4. Other than that Tian Aofeng, Shi Hongzhu now once again saw a cultivator that shocked him. "Friend, this is just a conflict between us, it has nothing to do with you. Why are you interfering in this?" Cai Shizhong immediately asked. He had made up his mind that even if Yi Mo was going to forcefully save Shi Hongzhu, he would rather let Shi Hongzhu go than fight this person. He had noticed that Yi Mo also didn't really seem to have the intention to fight them. There was only some unexplainable excitement in his eyes. Yi Mo wasn't planning on fighting the two indeed. He suppressed his excitement and asked, "Did you just say Luo Susu? Where is she?" Yi Mo's tone was still trembling, as he simply couldn't control it. Yi Mo's emotions had exploded upon hearing this name. He didn't want anyone to die in the fight, resulting in him getting incomplete information. Luo Susu? Cai Shizhong realized that this cultivator was also an admirer of Luo Susu, and he must have been looking for information about her. Although they didn't say anything, Cai Shizhong and Huang Zhuo immediately looked down on Yi Mo on the inside. Although Yi Mo's attack was quite shocking, he was daydreaming if he thought he could see Luo Susu. However, Cai Shizhong didn't dare to say any of that. He replied respectfully, "Luo Susu is the core disciple of the Nine-Star Sect called the Dark Ice Sect. She's ranked first in the top 10 beauties of South Peace State along with Wen Tsai." Chapter 934, Susu's Whereabouts. Chapter 934, Susu's Whereabouts. Yi Mo didn't care about the South Peace State's top 10 beauties. He just wanted to know if that Luo Susu was his wife. Before Cai Shizhong had finished, he asked desperately again, "When did Luo Susu join the Dark Ice Sect? What is her current power level?" Cai Shizhong seemed to see from Yi Mo's desperate expression that it wasn't just simple admiration. However, Cai Shizhong didn't know how to reply. The top 10 beauty status was so much higher than his. Shi Hongzhu had recovered, so he bowed to Yi Mo and said, "Thank you, Martial Brother, for saving my life. I know some basic information about Luo Susu." Then he blushed as though fearing Yi Mo would blame him for researching Luo Susu. He continued, "My friend gave me some news about Wen Tsai. They both ranked as the most beautiful in the South Peace State, so I have some information." Yi Mo waved his hand and rushed him. "Hurry up." "Yes," Shi Hongzhu quickly said. "She joined the Dark Ice Sect less than a year ago. It was a Qianbei from the sect who found her. That cauldron filing state Qianbei was out with a few friends and found Luo Susu. They were shocked by her spirit root talent and immediately brought Luo Susu back to the Dark Ice Mountain. It was proven that Qianbei was right. Luo Susu reached Foundation Establishment State Peak Stage in less than a year, and she might even be at Golden Core State now. Which one of you can draw her? Yimo scanned the three men again. He was sure that Luo Susu was his wife Luo Ying. The chronological order was coherent. The three men glanced at each other. Luo Susu rarely showed her face. They had only heard about this person. None of them had seen her. Yimo remembered that Ning Qingxue and Tang Beiwei were also with Susu, so he asked, did that Qianbei find a few people with Luo Susu when they took her? The three men shook their heads, none of them knew. Yimo was very disappointed. He waved his hand. You guys can leave. Cai Shizhong and Huangzhou saw that Shi Hongzhu didn't move, but they didn't dare point fingers in front of Yimo, so they could only leave. Of course, Shi Hongzhu wasn't going to leave now. He had to wait until the two cultivators were far enough before he could leave. He saluted with his fists and thanked Yimo again. However, Yimo's mind seemed to have wandered off, so he could only change directions and run. Yimo suddenly thought of something, but when he got up, he found all the three cultivators had left. He had forgotten to ask whether Ning Qingxue and Tang Beiwei could have been taken to other sects. After all, the Cauldron Filing State cultivator had been with a few friends. Ning Qingxue and Tang Beiwei were both very talented. With their beauty, they really could have made it into the South Peace State's 10 beauties. He should have asked about the rank. He might have been able to gather more information. Thinking about this, Yimo got very annoyed. However, he immediately took out Zishu and dashed towards the direction Cai Shizhong had taken. He only needed to find one southern cultivator to get their names. On the way, Yimo wasn't even in the mood to search for spirit herbs. He just kept searching for a southern cultivator. But after 2 days, he still hadn't met a single one. Yimo began to worry. He knew that with his current power, it would be impossible to get to the South Peace State. Yet no matter how impossible it was, he had to find a South Peace State cultivator to ask. 3 days later, Yimo saw 2 cultivators pass by with his spirit sense and immediately chased after them. His current speed wasn't any slower from when he had escaped the mist. His speed was causing a sharp howl in the air, but Yimo didn't care. He just went faster and faster. Yimo chased the cultivators, and half a day later, he could see 2 figures. They seemed to be 2 female cultivators. The 2 women had also seen Yimo, and they also noticed that he didn't care about all the noise his Zishu was making. The 2 women didn't seem happy. They stopped, took out their magic artifacts and waited for Yimo to come over. What do you want? Before Yimo could talk, the tall woman asked coldly. Yimo breathed at ease now that he had finally caught up. He studied the 2 cultivators. One was tall and very beautiful. Her skin was very smooth. She carried a flying sword that emitted a faint yellow light which flew around her. However, her cold tone didn't seem very welcoming. Her power was a lot higher than Yimo's. She was at Golden Core State Level 7. The girl next to her seemed cute and small. Her round face seemed innocent and her 2 big eyes looked very lively. They studied Yimo, but her eyes seemed to say that she could tell why Yimo had stopped them. However, her power was only at Golden Core State Level 3. Yimo wanted to ask for a favor, so he saluted with his fist. Hello, I'm Yimo. I want to ask. You don't need to ask anything. This is my martial sister Qiu Shui. You've already found her. Hurry up and say what you have to say. Give her whatever gifts you have to give. We're in a hurry, the cute girl interrupted him. The tall woman also thought she knew what Yimo wanted to do. There was a sliver of disgust in her eyes. Yimo was dazed. Seeing this, the big-eyed girl got impatient. Are you going to talk or give gifts? If not, we're leaving. We can see someone like you every day. I'm speechless. Yimo immediately realized that the 2 women had misunderstood him. However, Yimo didn't dare to offend them. He had been after them for 3 days. If they refused to reply, then it would be hard for him to ask questions. Yimo immediately saluted with his fists and said, I want to ask you too if you come from the South Peace State. The cute-looking girl looked at Yimo speechlessly and said impatiently, Of course we're from the South Peace State. Please use a better conversation starter. Sister Shui, let's go. Yimo quickly stopped them and took out 2 jade bottles. A small gift. Please don't reject it. Seeing this, the big-eyed girl lowered her tone and took the 2 jade bottles before saying, Sister Shui is here. Hurry up and say what you've got to say. Qiu Shui watched the girl take the jade bottles and seemed a little helpless. She then looked calmly at Yimo. There was contempt in her eyes. Yimo quickly asked, Can you please tell me who are the 10 beauties of the South Peace State? Can you please tell me their names from the number 1 to number 10? Hearing this, Qiu Shui's expression immediately changed. She sneered and said, Martial sister, let's go. Before Yimo could return to his senses, the 2 women had once again went on their flying sword. Yimo was confused about why the 2 cultivators had left. He was a little annoyed too. He had given them a gift. Did they need to be like that? Thinking about this, Yimo got on his Zishu and he was about to chase after them again. However, Qiu Shui took out a round disc spirit artifact and pointed at Yimo with her flying sword. If you dare approach us and say rude things again, I will kill you. Then, they disappeared immediately. Yimo was really confused. He had just asked a question. How was that rude? However, Yimo still followed them with Zishu. Even if he wasn't planning on asking them, he was going on the same direction. He didn't believe he couldn't find someone else. Chapter 935, 10 Beauties Ranking. Chapter 935, 10 Beauties Ranking. Yimo didn't fly very long this time before meeting 3 cultivators, 2 men and 1 woman. They seemed to be heading towards the direction the 2 girls had been going in. Yimo didn't care who it was, as long as he could just talk to someone. Yimo immediately gave up on the 2 girls, and he chased up to the 3 cultivators. Seeing this, the 3 cultivators stopped in vigilance as they took out their magic artifacts, looking at Yimo. Other than the girl who was Foundation Establishment State Peak Stage, the 2 men were Golden Core State Level 5 and Level 2. Yimo quickly saluted with his fists and said, I'm Yimo, I have been in solitary cultivation, so I don't really know about the situation in South Peace State. I heard someone talk about the South Peace State 10 beauties, and I'm very curious. I happened to meet you guys, so may I ask who these 10 beauties are? Yimo didn't dare to say he was from the North Far State, as this part of the Herb Valley belonged to the South Peace State. Huang Yushan and company said they were from South Peace State straight away because they were strong. Hearing this, the 3 rested easy. So it was a horny cultivator. Yimo was only Golden Core State Level 1 and couldn't threaten them. The tall dark-faced cultivator put away the magic artifact and laughed. Then friend, we are similar people, ha ha ha. However, don't take it too seriously, otherwise you'll only end up getting hurt. The other male cultivator put away his magic artifact and laughed. Clearly, he could tell Yimo was truly there to ask questions and not to look for trouble. Yimo saw that the 2 were straightforward people and had a good impression of them. I'm Guo Chifan, and these are my martial brother Yang Qi and martial sister Ding Ling brother Yi. You've probably just got news and must be heading towards Purple Lake. Let's go together then. We'll talk as we go. Guo Chifan had a good impression of Yimo too. Yimo just wanted to say no, as he didn't know what Purple Lake was, but Yang Qi intervened. Martial brother, is there a need to ask? Who isn't going to Purple Lake at this time? Although there is just 1 purple flower fire and we won't be able to get it, but we might get a few purple flower seeds. Perhaps after countless years, one will turn into another purple flower fire. Purple flower fire? Yimo thought. It was ranked 12th among the rare flames in the cultivation realm. This was rather high seeing how the top 10 were all heaven flames. When the purple flower fire was born, it would sprout 36 seeds. These seeds were also very precious. Each seed is a level 5 spirit item and is not only helpful for cultivation but can also be added to pills. If the seeds are of a high grade, countless years later, they might really become another purple flower fire. After Yimo heard this, he didn't say no. He nodded and continued to ask, yes, I'm also going there, but I do want to ask. Yimo didn't forget about the South Peace State 10 beauties. Haha, I know, brother Yi, don't worry. Although I don't know it very well, my martial sister does. Martial sister Ling, you can explain to brother Yi so that he can stop being so desperate, Guo Chifan laughed. Ding Ling wasn't as pretty as the two girls before, but she was rather fresh-looking and seemed easy to talk to. Hearing this, Ding Ling laughed and answered meticulously, "People say South Peace State 10 beauties, but it's actually 11 people. Ranked 1 are 9-star sect Dark Ice sects Luo Susu and 9-star sect Infinity sects Wen Tsai. Second is 9-star sect Clear Dream Mosques Ling Xiaoshuang. Third is 8-star sect Distant Immortal Ponds Ning Qingxue." Dashi Mo heard this, and his heart shook as he looked excited once again. Qingxue was indeed one of the top 10 beauties too. He didn't care about what rank she was at. He cared about finding news of her. Ding Ling continued, "Fourth is 9-star sect Deep Sound Towers Jing Yinming. Fifth is 8-star sect Golden Sword sects Xiao Shiyin. Sixth is 9-star sect Dark Ice sects Tang Beiwei." Dashi Mo's excitement rose a beat again. He consecutively heard news of Luo Ying, Ning Qingxue, and Tang Beiwei. His excitement was through the roof. He didn't know why Luo Ying and Tang Beiwei were in the same sect, but he could finally rest easy a bit. Ding Ling noticed Yi Mo's excitement and looked strangely at him but didn't ask anything. She continued, "Ranked 7 is 8-star sect Heaven Star sects Yi Pandai, while in 8th place is 8-star sect Nangong Villas Nangong Xiaodai. 9th is 7-star sect Fusion Joy sects Du Shouying. Finally 10th is 7-star sect Red Pill sects Qiu Shui. Dark Ice sect is really strong, having 2 of the top 10 in their sect." Yang Qi exclaimed. Ding Ling rolled her eyes. What's this got to do with the sect being strong? But the Dark Ice sect is a 9-star sect, so of course they are strong. Yi Mo felt relieved knowing that they were all doing fine and couldn't help but sigh at the power of South Peace State. Even the worst of the top 10 came from a 7-star sect. The rest were all in 8 or 9-star sects. Meanwhile, in the North Far State, a 5 or 6-star sect stood at the pinnacle. The difference was huge. At the same time, Yi Mo also realized why Qiu Shui left in a rage. She was ranked last out of the 10 beauties and assumed he knew her, so when he asked her to rank the beauties from 1 to 10, she thought he was insulting her. But Yi Mo didn't care about such trivial matters. This information was enough. There were many who were prettier than Qiu Shui, even that goddess Zihua, Yun Zi, had been on par with Qiu Shui, while that Ji Mai had been even better than Qiu Shui. After this, the first thing Yi Mo planned on doing when he got back would be to try to bring Yang Zhu and company to South Peace State. Yi Mo asked Ding Ling about their current status too, but she didn't know anything about that. After all, the difference in social status was too high. She only knew some widely known bits of news. As the 4 continued flying, more and more cultivators appeared. Many who knew Guo came to speak with them. When Yi Mo followed everyone to a big lake, he finally understood why he didn't see anyone before. Most of them were here. There were at least a few hundred cultivators present. There were much more people from South Peace State coming into the Herb Valley than the North Far State. As Yi Mo arrived, he immediately saw Qiu Shui and that big-eyed girl. They were waiting on the side of the lake for the purple flower fire to come out. Yi Mo scanned them and moved his eyes away. They took his gift but didn't answer his question, so he really didn't like the two. The two clearly didn't notice Yi Mo and just stared at the lake anxiously. Around them were tens of young cultivators. When they looked at Qiu Shui, it was obvious they were all admirers of her. Qiu Shui's face was calm, and no one dared to go up and talk to her. The lake was placid, and the big-eyed girl was bored. She said to Qiu Shui, "Sister Shui, why did that guy say that? Is he retarded? He chased up to us, but why did he use such a ridiculous way to catch your attention?" Then she took out the 2 jade bottles. "I really want to see what pills he gave." "Throw it away," Qiu Shui said calmly. The big-eyed girl laughed. "I will throw it away, of course, but I really want to see what pills the fellow gave first. The 2 jade bottles are quite exquisite." Then she casually opened one bottle. When she poured 2 pale blue pills out of it, however, she couldn't help but open her mouth wide in shock. Chapter 936, The Purple Flower Fire. Chapter 936, The Purple Flower Fire. Qiu Shui noticed that her martial sister had suddenly stopped talking. She immediately turned around to see what had happened and saw 2 pale azure pills on her martial sister's hands. She recognized the pills and exclaimed in shock, The Azure Wen pill? And its special grade. Qin Shui immediately stopped talking. Everyone knew how precious the Azure Wen pills were to golden core state cultivators. Hence, they were even more precious when it came to special grade ones. This was something that couldn't be bought, only pill kings could concoct special grade Azure Wen pills. The best cultivation pill for golden core state cultivators was the condensed red pill. The second best one was the Azure Wen pill. It was very hard to reach golden core state peak stage with the condensed red pill, but it was different with the Azure Wen pill. The reason for it being one of the most precious pill was because it could easily make a cultivator reach golden core state peak stage. The pill was for helping golden core state tertiary stage cultivators break through to golden core state peak stage. If you were at golden core state tertiary stage, you would be able to reach golden core state peak stage in a short time, as long as you had enough Azure Wen pills and suffer no side effects. However, the main ingredient of the Azure Wen pill, the Azure Wen grass, was very rare. The pill was also very hard to concoct. It required at least a level 9 spirit pill master. Qiu Shui was the core disciple of a 7-star sect, but even she couldn't easily get a special grade Azure Wen pill. Even when she reached golden core state level 9, she would at most get a top grade Azure Wen pill. Yet now, she had found 2 special grade Azure Wen pills surrounded with spirit Kai in her martial sister's hands. The little girl immediately understood and placed the 2 Azure Wen pills into the jade bottle. She was also very excited. She hadn't thought that a golden core state level 1 cultivator would give them 4 special grade Azure Wen pills. Seeing her martial sister's searing eyes, she immediately realized what her martial sister wanted. She took out the 2 bottles and gave them to Qiu Shui. She said, "Martial sister, I don't need these pills for now. It's a waste for me to use them." Qiu Shui really desired these special grade Azure Wen pills, but she also knew how valuable they were. She took 1 bottle and said, "That person gave us 2. We can have 1 each." "I really didn't expect it." The big-eyed girl blinked and said, "Martial sister, good thing I didn't listen to you. I almost threw them out without even looking at them." Hearing this, the eternally cold-faced Qiu Shui blushed and said with embarrassment, "I think we misunderstood him. He might have really approached us to ask questions." The younger martial sister continued, "I refuse to believe that he doesn't know the South Peace State's 10 beauties. If he can give away such pills so easily, he's a core disciple of either an 8-star sect or a 9-star sect. He's just using a new way to get your attention." But it didn't go according to the plan. Qiu Shui shook her head. "Not necessarily. Think about the flying artifact he was using. It was an ugly kitchen knife. If he was from an 8-star sect, Qiu Shui believed that Yi Mo had gotten the 2 bottles through his luck. As for why he had given it to her, it had obviously been to suck up to her. She had seen such cultivators before. People who were willing to give her everything in their storage ring to attain her favor. Hearing this, the big-eyed martial sister nodded. Then she added, "I wonder if that guy is here too." She started searching amongst the crowd and immediately saw some cultivators talking to Yi Mo. She grabbed Qiu Shui's sleeve and said, "Martial sister, he's really here. Look, he's in front of us. He didn't even greet us. What sort of pursuer is this?" Me. She then continued, "Martial sister, it seems you're right. He's just talking with those low-grade sect members. Clearly, he's not from a big sect. I really don't know how he found the 4 pills. Usually, big sect members looked at lower-grade sect members with content and they usually didn't talk to them." Qiu Shui looked up and saw Yi Mo. However, he didn't look over at all, and much less did he go talk to them. "Qiu Shui goddess, Yangru martial sister, long time no see," an amicable male voice sounded. Qiu Shui frowned, but when she saw who were coming, she could only nod. "So it's the martial brother Wang Pu from the Tianxian sect. What teachings do you have for us?" She didn't want to talk much to him. The Tianxian sect was a 7-star sect and Wang Pu was the core disciple. He was already at golden core state level 8 and he was stronger than her. Wang Pu didn't feel awkward about her words at all. He said nicely, "I thought I saw 2 pills in martial sister Yang Ru's hands that seemed to be special grade Azure Wen pills." Qiu Shui had began to frown already. Wang Piyu was at Golden Core State Level 8. Of course he wanted the Azure Wen pill. I saw that Marshall sister Yang Ru had another bottle. If she's willing to sell it, Qiu Shui interrupted him without hesitation. Sorry, Marshall brother Wang, Azure Wen pill are very important to us too. We don't have more to sell. Wang Piyu seemed to have known Qiu Shui would say this. He didn't get angry and simply continued, of course, I won't force you if you don't want to sell. I just want to know where you bought your Azure Wen pill, so I can try my luck too. Qiu Shui felt a little better after hearing this, but it was hard for her. If Yi Mo didn't have some big background, he would be dead for sure in the hands of Wang Piyu. Thinking about this, Qiu Shui said casually, we helped someone and that person gave us the pills in gratitude. We don't know that person either. Sorry. Qiu Shui blushed when saying this. They had taken Yi Mo's things, but they hadn't helped him at all. Wang Piyu had a sneer on his face. He said plainly, that person is really generous. Giving a special grade Azure Wen pill to a stranger for helping them. Hee. Qiu Shui didn't explain. She wouldn't have believed it either if she had been Wang Piyu. She subconsciously glanced at Yi Mo. However, this glance was immediately caught by Wang Piyu. He immediately kept a mental note of Yi Mo. He didn't believe that Yi Mo, who hung out with a group of small sect members, would have such pills. Yet since Qiu Shui had glanced at Yi Mo that second, it meant something. Meanwhile, the purple flower fire was about to be born. He didn't have time to talk to a cultivator like Yi Mo. At this moment, a Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator stood in the air and saluted everyone with his fist. Dao friends, we're all gathered here for one purpose, the purple flower fire, but there's only one. Luckily, there are many seeds coming with it. So even if you just get the seed, it's quite a fortune. The Golden Core State cultivator clearly had some status. The crowd immediately quieted down when he got out and soon the scene was silent. This cultivator nodded with satisfaction and continued, there are 36 seeds, but there are hundreds of cultivators here. Not everyone can get one. I'm here to remind everyone that we're all elite cultivators from the South Peace State. Even if you want to fight over the seeds, try not to kill each other. Yi Mo sneered upon hearing this. He knew this guy was talking bullshit. It would be lucky if the lake hadn't been dyed red by the end, so killing just a few people was even more unlikely. Chapter 937, Three-Eyed Purple Frog. Chapter 937, Three-Eyed Purple Frog. Seeing Yi Mo's sneer, Guo quickly said, Brother Yi, that person isn't simple. He's the core disciple of the 9-star sect called the Infinity Sect, Dong Tianya. He's ranked 4th on the Golden Core State Hall of Fame. Same sect as Wen Tsai? Yi Mo asked in shock. Guo looked at Yi Mo speechlessly. Brother Yi, please excuse me for being straightforward, but the only thing you need to know about the South Peace State 10 beauties is that if you keep them in your heart, you will eventually get hurt. This was the second time he said this to Yi Mo. Clearly he had a good impression of Yi Mo. Guo continued, this Dong Tianya for example, he's a Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator at such a young age and the core disciple of a 9-star sect. And he is a pursuer of Wen Tsai. Even though his status is a little higher than her, she still rejected him by saying that her cultivation level was still too low. Then he reminded Yi Mo to look at Qiu Shui on the opposite side. Look, that's the Qiu Shui who is just ranked South Peace State number 10. Seeing Yi Mo look over, Guo continued, she's only ranked 10th, yet how many cultivators want to get close to her? Those cultivators around her are all trying to get her attention, but they don't know how ridiculous they are. They all think they're looking really eye-catching and all that, but I'm certain that Qiu Shui doesn't like even a single one of them. Yi Mo had noticed the scene as soon as he arrived and found it funny too. Qiu Shui saw Yi Mo look at her and suddenly seemed to understand something. She couldn't help but think in contempt, so in the end he was still trying to get my attention. By the way, Brother Guo, how many cultivators enter the Desert Plain Herb Valley from the South Peace State each time? Yi Mo asked. Guo looked strangely at Yi Mo. You don't even know this. The spots are based on one sect's rank. Take my sect, the True Cauldron sect, for example. It's a 5-star sect, so we got 5 spots. 9-star sects have 9 spots. Other than this, there's also a solo cultivator alliance. If a solo cultivator wants to go in, he needs to sign up at the alliance and pass their test. If you're qualified, you can go in. All in all, there's about 10 to 20,000 people each time. Yimo was shook. He didn't expect the difference between the north and south to be this huge. Suddenly, ripples started forming on the purple flower lake. Seeing this, everyone became quiet in an instant. No one spoke, while some people even took out their magic artifacts. Everyone walked a few steps forward subconsciously, as though the closer they were to the lake, the greater their chances would be. The ripples grew larger and larger until it was eventually like the lake was boiling. Everyone knew that the purple flower fire was about to be born. 7 minutes later, the water split from the heart of the lake, and a huge meter-long purple sunflower rose up from the water. Soon, it grew up to 1/2 meter above the lake. Yimo, like all other cultivators, watched nervously as the purple sunflower kept rising. This was his first time seeing such a phenomenon too. He knew from things that the purple sunflower was a water element fire. Although it came from the water, all the cultivators by the lakeside felt a scorching heat. The purple flower fire was precious, but Yimo already had the mist lotus heart fire, so he didn't really feel astonished. He was going to say something to Guachifan when he turned around and saw Guachifan staring deadly at the purple flower as he gulped down his saliva. Yimo then looked around, and he found that everyone was similarly greedily looking at the purple flower. Yimo sighed. If he didn't have the mist lotus heart fire, would he be like these people too? Asking people in this state to not kill when fighting over it, wasn't that a joke? Suddenly, Yimo felt great respect towards Kong Yi. He knew Yimo had the mist lotus heart fire but wasn't at all greedy for it and even planned on giving him an earth fire. Perhaps only such a person could be called a true morally righteous Qianbei. The flower stopped growing at 2 meters, and the huge sunflower then started opening up. The heat it emitted was getting more and more intense, forcing some weaker cultivators to step back. One golden core state level 4 cultivator got too excited, and before the purple flower fire was fully mature, he charged up. A few more cultivators saw this and did the same, fearing someone else would take it. Stop, you can't touch the purple flower fire now. Dong Tianya was very annoyed. But before he finished talking, there was a sudden rumble underneath the lake. A 10-meter-high water stream shot up as a huge, bloody mouth appeared. With one spin of the tongue inside the mouth, the golden core state level 4 and 2 golden core state level 3 cultivators were swept away. Then, the tongue immediately sunk back into the lake. Everyone took a breath in. If they had charged up as well, their end would have been the same. What a terrifying spirit beast. Everyone by the lakeside calmed down their excitement completely and looked at the flower with some concern. Level 6 primary stage spirit beast, the 3-eyed purple frog. Yimo had recognized it immediately. A level 6 3-eyed purple frog was similar to nascent soul state cultivators in power. But spirit beasts had much better defensive powers than cultivators. It's a level 6 3-eyed purple frog, someone screamed. The 3-eyed purple frog is the spirit beast that is born along with the purple sunflower fire. How could I forget about that? Someone exclaimed. Meanwhile, Yimo was very excited, because the 3-eyed purple frog had something on its body that was much more precious than the purple flower fire. The situation had changed, however. A level 6 3-eyed purple frog was much stronger than these cultivators. There was a core difference between the golden core state and the nascent soul state. Golden core state cultivators only congealed their cultivation essence into a solid state. Nascent soul state cultivators, on the other hand, could forge their essence spirit as well. Soon the purple flower completely opened up, and a faint purple flame rose up in the center of the petals. Yimo knew that when the flame was first born, it would have a faint purple color, but after it stabilized, it would return to a faint yellow color. It would then need countless years of consolidating its foundation to reach purple again. The flame was almost mature, but no one dared to go up. It was a precious thing, but it was protected by a level 6 beast. They couldn't even defend against such a beast. Dong Tianya was becoming more and more desperate. He suddenly flew up and said, "Everyone, the flame is guarded by the 3-eyed purple frog. If we don't annihilate this beast, we won't be able to get the flame or the seed. It will just all be devoured by the frog at this rate. I will go lure the frog and then everyone can attack together. Okay, I agree. Go marshal Brother Dong, I will be the first to help. Me too. Most people agreed with Dong Tianya's suggestion. Dong Tianya took out a palm-sized stamp and charged at the fire. Before he got there, another water stream shot up, as it seemed the three-eyed purple frog had been ready for him, and the huge tongue swept over again. Before the tongue reached him, though, Dong Tianya threw out the stamp in his hand, which started increasing in size. By the time it got above the three-eyed purple frog, it was already 3 meters long. Chapter 938, Loot Fest. Chapter 938, Loot Fest. Rumble. Dong Tianya's stamp was flicked away by the three-eyed purple frog. Dong Tianya himself spat blood in mid-air due to the concussive force of cultivation essence. But then, the three-eyed purple frog swooped its tongue at Dong Tianya again. This time, a few more cultivator threw their magic artifacts at the three-eyed purple frog. The three-eyed purple frog's blood can purify impurities in cultivators' bodies and remove pill poison. Those who attack the three-eyed purple frog can each get a bottle. Dong Tianya recovered and encouraged others to attack the frog too. He had only fought with the three-eyed purple frog once, and that one time had made him clearly realize that if there were just a few people, they would be no match for the frog. However, there were already cultivators charging at it. They weren't idiots, they all knew how precious the three-eyed purple frog's blood was. Moreover, fighting with the frog meant that they could near the purple flower flame. Tens of cultivators rushed, and each time the three-eyed purple frog swooped with its tongue, it would take away a few cultivators with IR. Yet, this still couldn't stop the frenzy of attacks. The three-eyed purple frog was a level 6 spirit beast indeed, but there were too many people. When he swooped away 2 more golden core state cultivators and killed 4 with water jets, its tongue also had a portion that had been sliced off by a golden core state peak stage cultivator's magic artifact. The magic artifact seemed very powerful. After he sliced a portion of the tongue off, he seemed to have exerted too much cultivation essence. Even so, he had still gotten a small bottle of blood from the three-eyed purple frog. Seeing this, more and more cultivators attacked the three-eyed purple frog like crazy. There was still some time before the flame fully matured. Emo didn't move. He knew that the blood of the frog was very precious, but its most precious part was the third eye on the top of its head. The eye had a unique ability, a spirit sense attack, which was an attack to the soul. Emo also knew that the three-eyed purple frog's most powerful means of attack weren't the tongue, but its spirit sense attack. The reason the frog hadn't used it yet was because it was still weak and using that attack would hurt its own soul too. However, it had lost a part of its tongue, so it probably wasn't going to keep using water jets and tongue lashes. The third eye was also called the Eye of the Soul. If one got the Eye of the Soul, then the cultivator could spirit control it to attain the spirit sense attacks cultivation method. Some cultivators even turned the eye into their own third eye, but Yimo didn't want to do that. He just wanted to spirit control it to get the cultivation method for the spirit sense attack. With his powerful spirit sense, he could throw extra lethal punches. Yimo had only known about this after reading Thing. As Yimo had anticipated, he heard 2 cultivators scream and they started to pull their hair like crazy. The next moment, the 2 men fell into the lake. The three-eyed purple frog ignored the 2 men and kept using its spirit sense attack. More and more people fell into the lake. Seeing many cultivators drown, the others started to retreat in panic. "It is a spirit sense attack," one of the cultivator reacted and screamed. He tried to retreat, but he only took half a step back, screamed and fell into the lake. The three-eyed purple frog also seemed to know it couldn't last much longer. It splashed in the lake and ran to the bottom of the lake, leaving behind the flame. However, Yimo could tell this was the best moment to attack the three-eyed purple frog. It was at its weakest right now. Yimo was just about to turn around and call Guachifan when he saw the flame had fully come out of the blooming flower. It was floating above it. Then, after a buzz, it shot out tens of purple rays into the sky that fell down very slowly. Everyone knew that the flame had matured and the things falling from the sky were the purple fire seeds. Guo Chifan and Yang Qi charged at them without notice. Eventually, even Ding Ling charged at them too, trying to find a seed. At this moment, almost all of the crowd which stood by the lake, conformed by hundreds of people, ran for them except for a rare few. In this instance, countless spirit artifact flew around in the sky and blood was splashed everywhere, just as Yimo expected. Soon, the lake started to get tainted red. Yimo shook his head. He knew that trying to get the purple flame with his power would be a joke, but he didn't want to miss this opportunity. He ran after the crowd, but he fell down into the lake halfway. To other people, it looked like he had been smashed down. However, Yimo had gone down on purpose. He was going for the three-eyed purple frog's third eye. When Yimo dove into the bottom of the lake, he found the three-eyed purple frog squirmed by a big rock, seeming very depleted. Yet even so, it immediately noticed him when Yimo approached it and its tongue swooped down on him. Yimo could tell that the three-eyed purple frog had used up almost all of its power, but it was still much stronger than his golden core state level 1 power. He could die if he wasn't careful. Hence, at the same time Yimo released Zishu, he also released Shadowless. Immediately, Zishu shot countless purple sword rays that formed whirlpools, blocking the huge tongue. The massive amount of beams smashed on the tongue, creating gashes. The three-eyed purple frog shrieked in anger. It shot 2 water jets at Yimo while its tongue swooped down again. This time, Yimo didn't use sword rays. He simply gathered all of his cultivation essence and hacked the huge tongue. A jet of blood sprayed across the lake. He had created a wound on the already injured tongue. The three-eyed purple frog roared and Yimo felt his body turn cold. He realized it was the soul attack. Yimo knew that his spirit sense was at golden core state tertiary stage level, but he hadn't thought he could take on the three-eyed purple frog's spirit sense attack. The spirit sense attack could easily turn someone into a mentally disabled person, and it was very hard to recover from. This was why spirit sense recovery pills in the cultivation realm was so rare. The spirit sense attack now, after having been used so many times, would be much weaker, but Yimo didn't dare to take the risk. He didn't even try blocking it and just went into the golden page world. The three-eyed purple frog's spirit sense missed. A level 6 spirit beast had some intelligence already. Yimo's sudden disappearance made it feel danger. When it reacted, the person appeared in front of it again. This time, the three-eyed purple frog was truly scared. His spirit sense had injured itself. Yimo hacked with Zishu again. He didn't intend to kill it, it would be too hard. The three-eyed purple frog wanted to run away, so he turned to escape. Yimo had come for the eye. How could he let the three-eyed purple frog escape? The fight reignited and the lake rumbled. However, the cultivators only cared about the purple flame and the seeds. No one bothered looking the lake water's abnormality. Yimo ordered Shadowless to sneak inside the three-eyed purple frog while he attacked the head of the three-eyed purple frog. Chapter 939, Unintentional. Chapter 939, Unintentional. The three-eyed purple frog lost focus the moment Shadowless ambushed it, but this was just for a moment, as it quickly forced Shadowless out. But that brief window of time was enough for Yimo. Zishu had already slashed the eye at the top of the three-eyed purple frog's head. Splurge blood splattered everywhere, and the three-eyed purple frog instantly reacted by slamming its head up, headbutting Yimo away. Yimo spat some blood, but he rejoiced nonetheless. His slash didn't completely cut out the third eye, but it had cut off a third of it. This was enough for Yimo. He didn't need a complete cultivation method, he just needed a hint, and he would be able to use the 3-birth chant to create the best cultivation method for him. Yimo immediately took out a jade box, flew to that third of an eye, and put it away. The three-eyed purple frog was furious about losing a third of its third eye, but it didn't dare to look for trouble with Yimo any longer. It used its fastest speed to quickly disappear under the lake. To the three-eyed purple frog, a third of its third eye was a big loss, but it wasn't lethal. It could still complete the eye through cultivation. Right now, running for its life was the most important thing. As Yimo rejoiced and tried to hurry to the lakeside to climb out, at the same moment a purple flame shot into the bottom of the lake. Simultaneously, A few golden core state cultivators appeared in Yimo's spirit sense range. They were coming down without hesitation. Purple flower fire? Yimo immediately figured that the purple flower fire must have been forced into the bottom of the lake by those cultivators. Yimo didn't intend to fight for it originally, but now that it came to him, there was no reason not to try. So when Yimo saw the purple flower flame appear, he didn't even try to spirit control it, as he instead just swept the purple flame with purple rays and brought it into his golden page world. This all happened in an instant. As soon as Yimo did this, those few golden core state cultivators appeared on the spot Yimo had been before. What happened? There were cultivation essence waves here. Where is the purple flower flame? A golden core state level 9 asked coldly. Those there with him were either at the golden core state peak stage or level 8 and level 9 cultivators. Dong Tianya was there too, but his face was very bleak. Could it be that injured three-eyed purple frog? Another cultivator asked. Dong Tianya sneered, no way, no matter how fast that three-eyed purple frog is, it can't be fast to this extent. It's been less than a second, and there's still cultivation essence waves around. Could there be a golden core state cultivator that can teleport instantaneously? That's not possible, right? One cultivator conjectured. I think I scanned a figure before, but there are so many dead bodies here, I'm not too sure. After saying that, the man immediately started looting the storage rings in the area, and as more and more people joined, they were all gone in no time. And when some golden core state tertiary stages saw that the purple flame was gone, they charged out of the lake, wanting to take a purple sunflower seed. Most cultivators did that actually, but only Dong Tianya and 2 golden core state cultivators kept carefully searching around. However, they too were unable to find anything. Yimo immediately felt the rustling of the purple flower flame when he brought it into his golden page world. Despite isolating his hands with cultivation essence, his hands were still almost burnt. Before the purple flower flame could resist, however, Yimo immediately took out the mist lotus heartfire and enveloped the flame with it. Immediately, the volatile purple flower flame became very quiet and tame. It didn't want to be bound by Yimo, but it didn't dare to charge through the mist lotus heartfire. Seeing this, Yimo immediately spat some essence blood on the purple flower flame and started to spirit control it. The flame seemed to know what was going on and was very restless at the beginning, but after a while it completely calmed down. Soon, Yimo managed to spirit control the purple flower flame. The purple color also turned a faint yellow. Yimo happily stored the purple flower flame in his dantian. Yimo knew he had to go out early. Otherwise, if he only exited after all the things had been looted, he would seem the most suspicious indeed. Yimo dashed out of the golden page world and found that the fighting was still going on. More and more cultivators were smashed into the lake, before then immediately charging out to rejoin the massive battle royal. Some cultivators knew that they couldn't get a seed, so they just retreated to the lakeside. Yimo charged out of the lake amidst the cultivators who landed in the lake. There were still more than 10 purple rays flashing through the air. Yimo had no intention of fighting over them, however. He had already reaped the biggest reward there. He wanted to greet Guo Chifan and company and leave. Guo Chifan was with Yang Qi, but they didn't seem to have gotten a purple sunflower seed. Even so, they were still caught up in a battle with 2 other cultivators. Yimo was just out to go help when he saw that Ding Ling was about to be killed. Yimo couldn't care about other things and immediately released Zi Shu at the flying sword striking at Ding Ling. At the start when Ding Ling saw all the purple sunflower seeds, she had just charged up in a mesmerized state. Tai had been her subconscious desire. But when she charged into the crowd of cultivators and saw all the magic artifacts flying in the sky, she knew she had been too careless. She realized that this wasn't something she could get involved in. But just when she wanted to retreat, she saw Yang Qi had offended someone and was being stopped by 2 cultivators. In her desperation, she threw 2 runes at the 2 golden core state cultivators and saved Yang Qi temporarily. However, because her rune injured one of the golden core state level 1 and that cultivator saw that it was a foundation establishment state peak stage woman who injured him, he was furious. And he sent out his flying sword to kill Ding Ling. Ding Ling in her despair could only shut her eyes. She knew she was dead for sure. Yet at this moment Yi Mo, who just rose from the bottom of the lake, noticed Ding Ling's situation. Yi Mo used a full-powered attack. Zishu chopped at the flying sword the very moment it pierced Ding Ling. Crack, his sword split the flying sword in half. Yi Mo immediately chased up and pulled Ding Ling behind him. You dare to injure my flying sword? You're asking to die. That golden core state level 1 was furious. At this moment, Ding Ling reacted and opened her eyes. She saw Yi Mo standing in front of her and understood everything. Thank you, Brother Yi, he almost killed me, Ding Ling uttered with fear. Wait for me by the lakeside, I will deal with him first. Suddenly, the golden core state opponent sent out a huge pair of scissors. Before they even got near Yi Mo, they brought along with them a ghastly killing intent. Such fearsome scissors. Yi Mo noticed they were a middle-grade spirit artifact. A mere golden core state level 1 could use a middle-grade spirit artifact. Then he had no simple origin. These scissors having such a bleak killing intent, who knew how many people they had killed? Chapter 940, Powerful Black Net. Chapter 940, Powerful Black Net. The scissors were strong, but the user was too weak. Yi Mo had already shot the illusion cloud essence binding strike. Yi Mo didn't attack the golden core state cultivator, he simply charged at the huge pair of scissors. The golden core state level 1 cultivator was on the same state as Yi Mo, but his cultivation essence and spirit sense were far inferior. Just with this move, the huge bleak pair of scissors was thrown in the air by Yi Mo. At the same time, Yi Mo grabbed the scissors, removed the spirit sense mark on them and threw them in his ring. The golden core state cultivator's spirit sense mark had been removed, so his spirit sense sustained injuries. He spat a mouthful of essence blood immediately, his face was full of disbelief. The opponent was just a golden core state level 1 cultivator too. How could he have taken away so easily his crocodile soul scissors? Yi Mo didn't care. He hacked with Zishu again, easily slicing this golden core state level 1 in half. You dare to kill me? The golden core state cultivator finally reacted. Yi Mo took the cultivator's ring and let him drop dead into the lake. He was sneering, the guy really had had a sense of superiority. He had been about to kill him when he asked, "You dare to kill me?" Even if the heavenly monarch tried to kill him, Yi Mo wouldn't just stand there and do nothing, much less against a golden core state level 1 man. The golden core state level 6 cultivator who had fought with Guochifan saw Yi Mo kill the golden core state level 1 cultivator and immediately roared in rage. He left Guochifan and charged at Yi Mo. Before he had gotten to Yi Mo, he had already withdrawn his rod magic artifact. A blow of swirling cultivation essence charged at Yi Mo's chest. As he came near Yi Mo, the spiraling cultivation essence Kai grew stronger and stronger. Yi Mo didn't feel much, but Ding Ling had already been pushed back by this force. Eventually, she realized she had no option but to wait by the riverside and watch nervously. She began to worry for Yi Mo. Yi Mo didn't even move. When the rod magic artifact got to him, he hacked with Zishu again and instantly shattered the pressure the spiraling force had wrought. This golden core state level 6 cultivator was very surprised to see that his magic artifact hadn't caused Yi Mo any trouble. However, he soon understood Yi Mo was no ordinary cultivator. His face was cold as he weaved a few hand signs. The rod magic artifact split up in midair and countless dark rays came out from inside towards Yi Mo. Yi Mo's expression looked serious. He could tell that these dark rays would follow him wherever he went. This cultivator hadn't even used this move with Guochifan, but he had used it on him immediately. The golden core state level 1 cultivator he had just killed must have not been ordinary. Yi Mo had never seen such dark rays before, but he didn't take long to react. He swept Zishu again, as he threw the illusion cloud exert will strike. The sword rays that Zishu had shot hit the countless amount of dark rays accurately. But before Yi Mo could breathe easy, he found that those dark rays hadn't dissipated. Instead, they had split and they were charging at him again. However, Yi Mo immediately realized that although there were more dark rays, they posed a much lesser threat. Before Yi Mo could think too much, he immediately built a cultivation essence barrier. The dark rays clashed on the barrier and dissolved in it. Yet soon, The cultivation essence barrier got ripped apart. Yimo was shook. He wanted to run away. He didn't know what these dark rays were, but they were surrounding him and gradually forming a black net. Yimo was in pain. The net was getting tighter and tighter. Soon, he would get smashed into pieces by the net. Such a powerful thing. Yimo pierced the black net with Zishu. Yimo soon realized that although Zishu could cut open the black net, it welded together again rapidly. After a few moments, Yimo noticed his clothes were being ripped apart. As the black net gradually shrunk, he would get squeezed into pulp. The Golden Core State Level 6 cultivator saw this. He had a hateful sneer on his face. He took out a flying sword, but he didn't release it. Instead, he charged at Yimo's arms with it. At that moment, Yimo couldn't hide the heaven fire anymore. He released the mist lotus heart fire, which covered the surface of his body. The black net was immediately burned to nothing and only some pungent smell remained in the air. He had never seen such a kind of black net before. If he hadn't had a heaven flame, he wouldn't have even known what to do. Also, Yimo knew that his illusion cloud strikes were still very immature. If they had been stronger, they could have completely dissipated the dark rays. Yimo knew he couldn't show the mist lotus heart fire, so the instant he burned away the black net, he hid the heaven flame. Even so, it had still attracted some attention. A few Golden Core State cultivators looked at Yimo, but when they saw it was just two Golden Core State masters fighting, they immediately lost interest. The moment the black net got burned away, the Golden Core State Level 6 cultivator reacted. He pointed at Yimo in shock. "You have a heaven dash." How could Yimo let him finish the sentence? Yimo had already sent the illusion cloud whirlpool strike, which hacked him into many pieces and threw him into the lake. Yimo noticed that the rod had turned into an ordinary rod again. His spirit sense scanned inside the rod and found it to be empty. That dark rays were probably one-use move. Yimo put her on a coat, and found Guochifan and Yang Qi looking at him in shock. Meanwhile, the cultivator fighting with Yang Qi had left. At this moment, the last seed had been taken and soon, people stopped fighting. The slaughter fest had ended. Yimo landed by the lakeside, so Guochifan and Yang Qi followed him. Guochifan came up to Yimo and saluted him with his fists. "Thank you, Brother Yi, for saving Martial Sister Ding. If you have any demands, Yimo waved his hand and smiled. "It's no big deal. Don't worry about it." However, Guochifan said worriedly, "Brother Yi, the two Golden Core State cultivators you killed have no simple origin. They are from the 6-star Earth Demon sect. The Golden Core State Level 6 man was called Jiyu Cheng, and the Golden Core State Level 1 master, Chai Kong, was the disciple of the sect's Hollow Spirit State elder. You need to be careful from now on." Yimo didn't care at all. He wasn't from the South Peace State. Moreover, even if he went to the South Peace State later on, he didn't think he would happen to meet people from the Earth Demon sect. Guochifan saw that Yimo didn't care and continued, "I didn't think Brother Yi could deal with the demonic soul-binding ray. However, you need to be careful. Jiyu Cheng had just learned, so it wasn't very powerful. It can only be used once. But if you meet high-level cultivators from the Earth Demon sect, you need to be careful. Their demonic soul-binding ray is deadly." Hearing this, Yimo frowned. If that was the case, then he really needed to be careful. Chapter 941, Departure. Chapter 941, Departure. Ding Ling approached Yimo again to thank him for saving her life. Yimo knew that the Herb Valley was about to close in about half a month, so he wanted to give them some pills. He had a good impression of the three. Yimo took out 4 jade bottles and gave 1 bottle to each of them, but to Ding Ling he gave 2. 1 bottle contained a cultivation-increasing pill. Ding Ling was about to reach the Golden Core State, and she had come to the valley precisely to look for a stroke of fortune for that. Yimo had quite a lot of such pills, so it didn't matter if he gave her one. Even in a 5-star sect, it wouldn't be that easy to get a cultivation-increasing pill, though. Yang Qi was about to open it, but Yimo stopped him. "Look at it when you get back. I'll be going now. This is goodbye." "Huh, Brother Yi, you're going?" Ding Ling had a good impression of Yimo. Now that Yi Mo was about to leave, she was a little sad and asked, "How about you come look for herbs with us? The herb valley will be closing in half a month." Yi Mo shook his head and wanted to say something when a voice sounded by him. "Friend, I'm Wang Pu, 7-star sect Tianxian sect's disciple." Yi Mo was confused. He didn't know this Wang Pu at all. How come a sect member from a big sect was coming to talk to him? Even Guo Chifan and company were bewildered. Seeing how Yi Mo didn't speak, Wang Pu saluted with his fists politely and continued, "I saw that Brother Yi could even break through the demonic soul-binding ray, and I wish to be friends with you. I hope you can excuse my sudden approach." Yi Mo immediately became wary. He sensed that something more than that was up. A golden core state level 8 cultivator came to call him brother. What Yi Mo was worried about the most was that someone might have been watching his fight with Jiyu Icheng. Did this person see him use his heaven fire? Yi Mo wasn't some 1,000-year-old scheming master, but he had experienced a lot. His sixth sense told him that Wang Pu didn't have pure intentions in approaching him. Yi Mo smiled plainly and saluted with his fists, just some small tricks. Wang Pu shook his head, "Brother Yi, I think you're too humble." Although Brother Yi used a hidden means, I can still feel the scorching Yi Mo's heart sunk. But this Wang Pu then suddenly changed the topic after saying the word scorching. "I just know Brother Yi's surname is Yi." "What is your full name? What's the meaning of this, Wang Pu?" Before Yi Mo could answer, a cold voice sounded. Yi Mo looked coldly at Qiu Shui and Wang Pu, and there was a sliver of disgust in his eyes. How could he not realize now that Wang Pu was there due to this woman? Yi Mo ignored the two and saluted with his fists to Guo Chifan and company. "Brother Guo, Yang Qi, Martial Sister Ding, we'll meet again." Then, Yi Mo stood on his kitchen knife and left. Wang Pu looked at the direction Yi Mo left, and his face was green. He didn't think a mere golden core state level 1 would dare to be so rude to him. But he didn't chase up. He had marked Yi Mo with his spirit sense already. He didn't need to chase Yi Mo in front of everyone right away. When Qiu Shui saw Yi Mo look at her with a sliver of disgust, she felt very uncomfortable despite believing that Yi Mo was using this as a method to get close to her. She thought for a moment and then started chasing after him on her flying sword without even telling Yang Ru. Yi Mo believed that if he flew at full speed, even Qiu Shui wouldn't be able to catch up, but with so many people there watching, he really didn't know why Qiu Shui was doing this. Hence, Yi Mo stopped and just stared coldly at Qiu Shui. Qiu Shui seemed to know Yi Mo would stop and looked calmly at Yi Mo. "You gave me such a precious pill. Perhaps you knew I wouldn't be able to reject it," and after pausing for a moment, Qiu Shui saw that Yi Mo didn't have any intentions of speaking, so she could only continue, "And indeed, that pill is very important to me, so I'll agree to one request of yours as long as it's not too over the line." "Tell me." "Agree to my request." Yi Mo immediately realized that this woman was still thinking so highly of herself, thinking that he was trying to catch her attention. He gave her such a precious pill. Yi Mo only gave them some condensed red pills and azure wen pills. Those were the lowest quality golden core state pills he had. The condensed red pill could be bought, so since he was desperate for Ning Qingxue and the others' whereabouts, he gave 4 azure wen pills in his desperation as well. But even then, he had nearly 100 of them. However, this woman thought it was some high-level pill. Wasn't she from a 7-star sect? How come an azure wen pill was so precious to her? But then Yi Mo immediately realized why. Level 5 spirit herbs weren't abundant even for 7-star sects, and sect members would need sect contribution points to get something. Moreover, the pills he gave were special grade. That was something only pill kings could achieve. Having gotten so many high-level spirit herbs in the valley and being a pill king, Yi Mo hadn't thought that much about it. Yi Mo wasn't going to be low now and ask for her to give the pills back, but he still felt unhappy after realizing it. "I already asked what I wanted to ask, and I don't need your help with anything else. I'm going now. I just hope you don't keep following me." Then, Yi Mo got on Zi Shu and disappeared in front of her. Yang Ru had also followed over by now and saw Qiu Shui in a daze, so she asked immediately, "Sister Shui, what happened? Why did that guy leave? Did you make it clear that what he's doing is ridiculous?" Qiu Shui shook her head. She didn't know what was going through Yi Mo's head anymore, but it didn't seem like he was playing hard to get. After Yimo left, Guichifan and the others also left. Martial brother, do you think that Qiu Shui would give brother Yi a hard time? Yang Qi asked. Guichifan shook his head. I've heard about that Qiu Shui. She doesn't like killing. She must have some other business with brother Yi. Besides, even if she wanted to do anything, with brother Yi being capable of killing Ji Yuecheng, I don't think he would be afraid of her. Ding Ling then took out 2 jade bottles and opened them. Let me see what pills brother Yi gave me. Huh? What's wrong? Guichifan and Yang Qi immediately came over. It's a top-grade cultivation increasing pill and a bottle of special-grade condensed red pills. This. To a 5-star sect member, these 2 pills were absurd. Guichifan and Yang Qi also immediately opened the bottles Yimo gave them and said, I also got 12 condensed red pills. We owe him big time, Yang Qi murmured to himself. Guichifan put the bottle away and said, put these things away. Don't speak about them. Brother Yi has no simple origin. We actually owe him more for saving Martial's sister, so let's just keep it in our hearts. Yes, Yang Qi and Ding Ling agreed. The 3 sped away even faster. Yimo stopped not far away, changed all his clothes, and washed himself. He had experienced a lot, and this wasn't the first time someone planted a spirit sense mark on him. If he wasn't concerned that Wang Piyu might look for trouble with Guichifan and company, he would set up a trap formation here and kill Wang Piyu. But he knew that Guichifan and company had been there when Wang Piyu talked to him, so if he died, they would be suspected. Indeed, not long after Yimo left, Wang Piyu appeared and said with a green face, cunning brat. Chapter 942, Insolent. Chapter 942, Insolent. The herb valley was so big that Yimo couldn't even tell where he was. He just kept going north and collecting herbs along the way. This desert herb valley was really a natural garden. Even though Yimo didn't pass by anywhere special, he still found large quantities of level 3 and level 4 herbs, as well as a few level 5 ones. Although he was flying north, Yimo subconsciously still avoided the way he came from. He really feared that black mist. That thing was too scary. If he were more powerful, perhaps he would go study it, but now he just wanted to stay as far away from it as possible. On the 7th day of Yimo's travel, Yimo picked up on some cultivation essence waves with his spirit sense. Yimo didn't want to care too much about it, but he also wanted to see who was fighting. Thinking about this, he scanned his spirit sense over immediately. But when Yimo saw that it was a golden core state peak stage cultivator fighting a woman who had her face covered, he immediately turned in their direction and charged over. His heart was beating rapidly. He knew that golden core state peak stage, it was the strongest cultivator from back at the spirit marrow pond. Yimo saw with his own eyes how the man got at least 100 spirit crystals. How could he let this opportunity go? Not to mention, he had almost died to that man before. Yimo made his cultivation level seem to be at foundation establishment state level 7 again. He knew that the golden core state peak stage knew he was at level 7, so he wouldn't suspect anything. The 2 both saw Yimo come over, and both of them seemed to be interested in this foundation establishment state level 7. It was understandable that the golden core state peak stage man would look at him with fascination. Yimo even suspected that if he left immediately, the man would leave behind that woman to go capture him instead. However, he had never seen the masked woman before, so why would she look at him with shock too? Seeing that Yimo had no intentions of leaving, the 2 started fighting again. Cultivation essence rattled, explosions kept sounding in the air, and the fighting grew more intense with Yimo's arrival, as though both sides wanted to end the other party quickly. Yimo checked the woman's power level. She was a golden core state level 7 cultivator, but being able to fight such an intense battle with a golden core state peak stage cultivator, it clearly meant that she had a lot of various methods. But Yimo's battle sense was acute enough to tell that if he didn't intervene, it wouldn't be long before that golden core state peak stage man won. Yimo didn't intervene, though. The most important thing were the 100 or so spirit crystals that golden core state peak stage cultivator had. That was a huge fortune. With enough spirit crystals, Yimo would be able to reach golden core state middle stage in a short time. That would make him really happy. At the same time, Yi Mo was also very clear that he was no match for this Golden Core State Peak Stage fighter yet. Seeing the two fight an intense battle, Yi Mo started laying out formations around them. Seeing a Foundation Establishment State Level 7 set up formation flags around them and throwing down top-grade spirit stones, the two Golden Core State cultivators thought it funny. What use could it have even if this small cultivator laid some formations? The formations that a Foundation Establishment State Level 7 kid set down wouldn't even be able to block one strike from a Golden Core State cultivator. In their eyes, Yi Mo was being insolent. Rumble right when the formation was set up, the masked woman was smashed away. However, she didn't fly far before smashing into the defensive formation Yi Mo had just set up, shaking it a little. The formation Yi Mo had set up activated with a shining yellow light, but that was it. The defensive formation didn't break as it sealed the woman and peak stage cultivator inside of it with a faint yellow light. The masked woman was dazed. She even forgot to wipe the blood from her mouth as she looked dazedly at Yi Mo. You set up a level 3 formation? You're a level 3 formation master? Yi Mo sneered. A level 3 formation was nothing. If he had the time and materials, he could even set up a level 4 formation. He had also set up a stealth attack formation. That Golden Core State Peak Stage also put on a serious look. He didn't care about Yi Mo's Foundation Establishment State power, but the level 3 formation made him become more careful. He believed that Yi Mo wouldn't be able to stop him regardless, but he didn't reach the Golden Core State Peak Stage by simply trusting in assumptions. What do you want? The masked woman asked Yi Mo coldly. Yi Mo smiled plainly. I have no conflict with you. I'll open the formation and you can go, but I have some problems with him. I need to take something from him. Yi Mo's words were very funny, but the masked woman didn't laugh. Someone who can easily set up level 3 formations wasn't simple. Her master told her that she shouldn't easily offend a formation master. Clearly Yi Mo was such a master. She also thought of when Yi Mo killed someone beyond his level and didn't look down on Yi Mo at all. She nodded to Yi Mo and walked out of the defensive formation. This time, the formation didn't do anything, meaning that it was completely under the control of this Foundation Establishment State cultivator. Seeing her leave, Yi Mo didn't care. Even if he didn't use formations, he wasn't scared of a Golden Core State Level 7. Even if he couldn't win, he could run away. You've got balls, I haven't gone looking for you yet, but you dare to come for me, the Golden Core State Peak Stage sneered. Yi Mo smiled. You haven't looked for me. I think it's just that you couldn't find me. Without question, this Golden Core State Peak Stage cultivator must have been looking everywhere for him. Give me the magic artifact that contains the spirit marrow. I promise you can leave after that. Other than this, I won't touch anything of yours. Unexpectedly, this Golden Core State Peak Stage didn't attack Yi Mo. Okay, give me your storage ring, and I promise too that if it satisfies me, I'll let you go, Yi Mo replied calmly. As he said that, Yi Mo threw out another formation flag. This immediately clouded the environment inside the formation. The Golden Core State Peak Stage man couldn't even see Yi Mo's face clearly anymore, and his spirit sense also became weak. The cultivator was shook. He waved his hand, and a colored flag appeared in his hand, which he then threw out immediately. The small flag turned 10 meters big in an instant, and the sky became ghastly under its influence. Yi Mo subconsciously shivered at the change. Yi Mo clearly saw the cultivator use only a hammer-like magic artifact when fighting the masked woman before. Yi Mo couldn't help but wonder why both Jiyu Cheng and this man used ordinary moves and magic artifacts to fight other people but immediately took out their most powerful assets to fight him. He appeared as only a Foundation Establishment State Level 7 right now. Yi Mo immediately threw out tens of formation flags as well as Zishu. He knew that it would be suicide to compete in cultivation essence against a Golden Core State Peak Stage opponent. It would be stupid to not utilize the formation right now. If he wanted to win, he would need the formation to suppress the man and use Shadowless to slowly torture him. Shadowless had killed a Golden Core State Peak Stage before, so Yi Mo wasn't too worried. And this situation was actually much better than when he killed Li Changsheng. He was only at the Foundation Establishment State before, But now he was at the golden core state and had formations to help him. After throwing out the flag, the sky rumbled as tens of yellow rays shot out of the formation, charging into the flag. The cloudiness in the formation was getting worse and worse. The golden core state peak stage was shook when his flag was stopped. His flag was made out of living souls, and although it had only just been completed, it was capable of stealing souls. He didn't expect a foundation establishment state would be able to suppress it with a formation. Then suddenly, countless purple sword rays slashed at his face. The masked woman looked dazedly at the formation and the countless explosions inside of it, but she couldn't see anything. Since when was this foundation establishment state cultivator this strong? You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,